New to the Wisconsin Live Desk, this is our way of disseminating information to you with regard to what's happening all over the country and including our community, right? Of course, here in Southeast Wisconsin. One of the big things happening in Southeast Wisconsin is this. Oh, this is our producer. He's also one of the big things happening in Southeast Wisconsin, but I meant to go. I pressed the wrong button. Hello, Carrie. I'm trying to take viewers to AmFam. There we go. This is what I wanted to show you, but you got Carrie instead, who was a great coworker of mine, by the way. In the meantime, his eyes, your eyes, our community's eyes, all on AmFam Field. It is going to be a big day, a big night tomorrow, excuse me. We know the Brewers, unfortunately, lost to the Cubs 6-0 in NLDS Game 4 last night. We know Milwaukee and Chicago are now tied at 2-2 in the best of 5 series, meaning Game 5 now will be played tomorrow night at American Family Field. This is going to be a big deal, you guys. We are hoping the crew can pull out a win for us. We've got some coworkers going to this game, coworkers who will be field anchoring from the game tomorrow night. Our Sam Kramer will be there for our team tomorrow night. I'll be in studio, just not at the ballpark. This is the time that it will start. The festivities get started at 7:08 tomorrow night. It's when first pitch will be against, of course, the Cubs. Here's the full screen for you for the information. Just a quick glance at that. You'll need all you need to know or get all you need to know in terms of like start times and where to go and how to get there. This is a big deal. We are pulling for the win. We need this in our community. This is a big deal for the guys, not only for the team, but it will be incredible to play under Uke, for that matter, and his leadership from above. But it'd also be great for this community as we continue to rally for the Brew Crew. We've been seeing so many of your photos, honestly, of you all supporting the team from afar. Some of us have sent in your photos from tailgates at the ballpark, inside near the Uke statue. We've also seen photos of you all in your fan caves at home. We've seen your dogs decked out in Brewers gear. You can see some of those photos represented right here. And typically, once we get those photos from you guys, we show them on our broadcast here at Fox 6. And so if you are one of those people saying, hey, I want to show my family, I want to show my friends, or I want to show myself, all you got to do is take this QR code right here and scan that with your smartphone and upload your pics through that medium. And hopefully you can see some of them throughout the morning, throughout the evening and afternoon on our Fox 6 broadcast and our newscast. It's such a fun way to connect with you guys and for you guys to show us, how you're repping the crew from near and afar. So we're excited about this. This is going to be huge. We just need to figure out if we can get this win tomorrow. We know that the Dodgers beat the Phillies in extra innings last night as well to advance to the National League Championship Series. So they will face whoever wins the Brewers-Cubs series. So we are hoping to see our guys, the Brew Crew, face off in the NLCS. We just need to get this win tomorrow night at AmFam Field. Now, we know that gives us home field advantage. A lot goes into that, with you playing in a familiar place, around some familiar fans. So we're hoping that because of the home field advantage, that will even more so play to our advantage of hopefully pulling out a win against the Cubs. For some background, the Cubs at the Brewers game. Listen, Chicago took regular season series with Milwaukee 7-6. We know Milwaukee is seeking its first postseason series win since 2018. So this would be historical if we can pull this win out tomorrow, and continue the momentum that the crew has been building since the season started. One of the best teams, or arguably the best team in the league right now. So we could really see a historical night tomorrow night, a magical night tomorrow night, and a very victorious night tomorrow night. But we just got to win against the Cubs. Again, for some background, if you're just now joining us here on our digital platform here, the Brewers, as you by now know, lost to the Cubs 6-0 in the NLDS Game 4 last night. Milwaukee, though, and Chicago now tied 2-2 in the best of 5 series. Game 5, y'all, will be played at this field, at the American Family Field. You're looking at it now on your screen. It will be played tomorrow night at American Family Field, and we expect to see so many people, so much traffic, of course, and so many fans out there tailgating, rooting for the crew. If you're talking about What is it going to feel like outside if I go tailgate or watch, the game at my own home outside? Well, we've got the answers for you. So we've got a Brewers forecast for you right on your screen here if you want to direct your attention to that for a quick second. 5 o'clock, it'll be around 61 degrees, okay? Then you move closer to game time, 7:08, 7 p.m., 59 degrees. You catching what I'm saying here? 9 o'clock, 57. Yeah, those temperatures are just going to continue to go down. Not a lot of sunshine expected, hence the roof might be still closed at AmFam Field, giving you some warmth as you battle these, cooler temperatures, these fall-like temperatures, which I personally love, and we know a lot of you love, because it makes it feel like we're into the fall sports season. We've got football, basketball, and of course the Brewers tomorrow night at American Family Field. So again, if you are going to be tailgating, one of those lucky folks out there going to the game, getting some tailgating in with some brats, some beers, some friends, some food, everything else in between, here is your forecast, what you can expect. So if you're wearing a Brewers jersey, make sure you throw maybe a hoodie on underneath that and some jeans and some comfortable socks, long tube socks and sneakers. You're going to need them. It's going to be a great night, a chilly one, but nevertheless, a fantastic night to root for the Crew as they take on the Cubs. They are now tied 2-2 in the best-of-5 series. Looking ahead to Game 5 being played at AmFam Field. First pitch starting at 7:08 against the Cubs on our turf. So we're hoping all of this means success, hoping it spells success for our Crew tomorrow night. And we'll be out there field anchoring, reporting from American Family Field. So if you see our Crews, say hello. We'll say hello back to you. We're some friendly people, we promise. All right, folks. That is going to do it for us in terms of the Brewers coverage. We're going to take a quick short break here for just a few minutes, but we will be back with more news, weather, and a little bit of sports on the other side of this break. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and most of all, happy Friday. We'll be back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Donovan Long here. Time is 12:39, almost 12:40 on your Friday afternoon. Hey, one of the things we want to highlight here is making strides against breast cancer through the American Cancer Society. This is something that is very near and dear to us here at our FOX6 studios. We obviously know we are in the midst of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we want to do our part to encourage so many of you to get your screenings in advance. We know early detection is very important and can really, really help the outcomes of what comes next in sometimes your walk through battling cancer. A lot of us here at the studio have personal connections to this specific type of cancer. And so we want to do our part, as always, to encourage more research, awareness, and more support, right? And so this is one of the ways we do that. We participate in what's called the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk that happens around the lakeshore here. We know we will meet at Meyer Festival Park, the South Gate. Those gates will open at 8 in the morning. We do know that our own Mary Stoker-Smith will be emceeing this wonderful event. She'll start the opening ceremonies at 9:40 in the morning. The walk itself will begin at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we know there'll be a lot of activities and fun at the finish line, but the walk will be about from 10:30 until noon, and things, of course, wrap up tomorrow afternoon at noon. Plenty of time for you to enjoy the rest of the day with your family and maybe some Brewers baseball. But you're looking now at a picture to the left of the information with regard to the breast cancer walk. You'll see a picture of our team from last year. So from left to right, that is Derica. Next to her is Mary. Next to her is, I believe, Ted Perry. Then our meteorologist, one of them, Stephanie Barrichello, and then Nicola right beside Stephanie, to the right of Stephanie. They were out there last year bringing awareness, offering their support, and really just encouraging everyone else to get tested and checked out early. And so we will be taking so many pictures, just like the one you see on your screen to the left here, tomorrow morning. We're super excited. I will be out there tomorrow morning. We know Derica's going to be there. Mary, of course, who's our MC for the morning. We know that Nicola will also be out there, and several of our teammates here at Fox 6, really wanting to do our part to ensure that everybody in this community feels supported. And you know, one person will be impacted by this. Excuse me, not just one person will be impacted by this, but so many people, by virtue of you just showing up to show your support. That goes a long way to people not only battling breast cancer, but people who know someone who has battled or is battling breast cancer. Like I said at the top here, we all know someone who's been impacted by this, particularly you watching may have been impacted by this directly or indirectly. In addition to showing our support that way, we also have another way to support breast cancer awareness. This is our Buddy Check 6. You may have heard us mention it on our broadcast. I am a new member, as well as Ted. We are the two men on this list of great associates and great colleagues who work with us every day. So Ted and I joined because men, yes, we can get breast cancer as well, although it is not commonly talked about like it is with regard to women battling this disease. Men get breast cancer as well. And so we've talked to doctors and experts about this, saying that it is so important, specifically fellas, that you also get checked out, you also go to the doctor, you also do self-exams, and if you notice there seems to be something abnormal and something that is not consistent with your day-to-day routines in terms of your health, make sure you call a doctor. You deserve the help and medical attention that you deserve, or you should get the help and medical attention that you deserve. In any case, you can sign up to be a part of our Buddy Check 6 reminders. You'll get them from all of us here at Fox 6 News. You receive monthly reminders on the 6th of every month to make sure you are doing what you need to do to check for changes in your body, on your body. And if you have detected something that is not normally there or that you think is an issue, make sure you call the doctor. Again, there is help out there if you need it. There are resources out there if you need it. So take advantage of them, because you deserve the best treatment that you can have in this community. And there are some great doctors and medical professionals out there who are always looking to make sure you are helped out. So tomorrow, again, just to kind of put a bow on it, our team, some of our team members will be outside tomorrow near the Summerfest grounds meeting up for the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. This is through the American Cancer Society. We'll see you there starting at 8 o'clock in the morning when the gates open. Mary Stoker Smith will be emceeing this starting at 9:40 in the morning. Then the walk itself will begin at 10 in the morning. Things will get wrapped up by noon, but this is such a great way to continue showing love and support for so many people who have breast cancer, who are breast cancer survivors, and also saying hello to people who are helping someone else battle that journey. So this is a little something that we can do to make sure that people in our community, our viewers, feel supported. All right, folks, you can find much more information about that, by the way, on fox6now.com if you are looking to be a part of this wonderful event tomorrow. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick short break here at 12:46 on your Friday afternoon. Donovan Long here with you at the Wisconsin Live Desk. If you're new here, great to have you. If you're a first-timer, also great to have you. We'll see you right back here on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Donovan Long here. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Your time is about 12:49 Friday afternoon. Some of our big stories we've been following today have been, of course, the Brewers. That is a huge topic of conversation right now. If we can, let's take a quick short look at what AmFam Field looks like right now. Here she is in all of her glory. Hey, we know that the roof is closed now, and that's for good reason, because we're going to feel some chilly temperatures out there, especially if you are one of those incredible and lucky tailgaters. Let's give you a check of the forecast with regard to tomorrow evening on into tomorrow night. Hey, 61 degrees at 5 p.m., 59 degrees at 7 p.m. around first pitch, And then 9 p.m., 57 degrees. So you're probably catching my drift here. Temperatures are going down, y'all. It's fall, which we embrace. We love the atmosphere of the fall, the weather of the fall, the sports, especially for me, football in the fall. So all is well. But sticking with the Brewers, though, listen, they lost to the Cubs, we know. 6-0 in the NLDS Game 4 last night. Milwaukee and Chicago now tied 2-2 in the best of 5 series, meaning Game 5 will be played Saturday at American Family Field. But we are so excited. We are hoping for a win here, and we know our crew can do it. Arguably, home field advantage will give them a leg up in Game 5 tomorrow. So we will be watching. We will be seeing what happens. In the meantime, I want to get to Tessa. So she is an incredible person in this community. She just won the Junior Supreme Champion honors at World Dairy Expo Day. We're going to bring her in right now. There she is. Hey, Tess, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes.
Sweet. I'm making sure that we can hear you, my friend. If you say hello to me and all of our viewers, I'll be able to tell.
Hi.
Yes, great, we got you. Okay, Tess, first of all, congratulations. This is a big deal. Tell us a little bit about this expo, this competition that you've participated in, and exactly what it means for you.
So World Dairy Expo is a week-long show in Madison at the Alliant Energy Center, and it's cows from all across North America, so like Canada and the United States are the main people that show there. But it welcomes a global host, so people from all over the world come and they spectate. It's the best of the best cows, it's the best of the best cow people, and it's a super special week where I get to catch up with my friends from, I have friends from New York and all over, and it's just really nice to see them and just get to showcase the best cattle on the best stage.
No kidding. So talk to me about your background. Why participate in this? What motivated you to become affiliated with this?
So my parents both grew up raising dairy cattle. My dad's actually from Switzerland, and then he moved to Canada where he grew up raising cattle. My mom's from Wisconsin, and she also grew up raising dairy cattle. My parents actually met at the World Dairy Expo. So
Get out of town.
Huh?
I said get out of town. That is so cool.
Yes. And so it's always something that's super special to us. And, I just kind of grew up showing, and I always did it. That's the thing I know. I've been showing ever since I could hold a halter. So It means a lot to me.
No kidding. Okay, so talk to me about your next steps. You just started at Iowa State University, I understand, studying agricultural science, which seems like it's right down your alley. How do you want to use your future degree and kind of combine that with your love of cattle?
Well, so actually I'm studying actuarial science.
I mispronounced it. Excuse me. Thank you so much for the correction.
Yeah. So my goal is to go into a rural insurance company and give back to farmers because insurance is really important in the farming community, and sometimes it's not super accessible or they don't really understand it. So I just want to be that voice because I know the background and I want to be able to help them.
No kidding. Okay, tell me, what does your dream look like for you after you graduate college, get that incredible job you want to have? What is a dream for you?
I want to be an actuary at a big company, and I also want to raise dairy cattle, continue to do that, and show on the scale I do now, and just keep developing my herd, hopefully get better and better at it too.
Advice to other young girls who may be looking at you saying, I want to be just like Tessa. What can you tell them?
I think it's really important to just keep working hard. I actually started a social media, and I get so many comments of like, I don't know where to start. And you honestly just need to start. If you keep working at your goal, you will get there. My first year of World Dairy Expo, which was 10 years ago, I placed second to last in my class. And it took me a while. Like this year was my first time winning a class in the Junior Holstein show. So it took me a while to get there, and it just was persistence, hard work, finding the right cattle, but not super expensive, and just investing in it, putting the time in, and also finding those mentors that have helped me along the way.
No kidding. Okay, we just saw some of the photos kind of illustrating your big win with what appeared to be your family as well by your side. What was that moment like? Walk me through kind of the day-to-day of the prep work that it took to get to this very moment that is become a picture perfect moment for you?
So at home, you know, we get up in the morning, we milk our cows, and we do special work with them. So we wash them and then we walk them. Our heifers is a little more work, so that's cows that haven't had a baby yet. So she is a cow, and then the heifers are the ones that haven't had babies yet. And for them, we work their hair, make sure their hair's super nice and pretty, and they look ready for the ring. And it takes a lot of work. Chores can take us anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending how much we do without all of our cattle. And then we get to the show, and every day we're up at 4 doing chores, and then we don't go to bed till 11. And I love it. And it's really persistence, and we put in the time. We build that relationship with our animals so they trust us. And I think we've been developing Asa, as I call her, for 2 years. And it just takes a lot of time and patience as well. And just seeing that transition, working hard at it.
What do you think is one part of that job that nobody really understands how profound it is?
I think just how much it can be really draining when you're keeping put down. Azalea, the cow that won, she has had some health issues, and it's super hard on my family. We put our heart into the cows, and when they're hurt and they're sick and we can't seem to make them feel better, it's really hard on us. And I think, when she first had her baby in December, it took her a while to get going. And she's an old cow, so it's a little hard for her to bounce back. And then in August, she went through a really, really difficult time with her health. And we thought we were going to lose her. So it was really hard on my mom. It's really hard on me going to school and not knowing if she was going to be okay, but she slowly got on the mend. And that's the hard part is like, for some people who have large dairies, it's one loss out of 1,000. For us, we have around 40 head herd. It's a lot. It means a lot when we put so much time into them. We want to see them better. And when they go through health troubles, it's really hard. But we also have, living in Wisconsin, we have the best care at UW-Madison.
Wonderful.
Vet school, and they were the main reason we were able to get Asa back and healthy into that show ring.
Oh, I love that. That is such a story of adversity, but loving the outcome. Tell me this real quickly. What is the best part of your job in contrast to the most challenging part? What is the best part of doing what you and your family do?
It's seeing all of our, all of the setbacks, all of the money. It's seeing it pay off, and not just winning, but also we have such a great community. And my dad got hurt a while ago, and he's like the guy who does all of it for us, right? Like he's our breadwinner, and they all came and supported us. And it's just really awesome. People know my sister and I, we're very kind. We like helping others. And, this week it was really, it showed me a lot of kids look up to me. Like I had parents can say, Tessa, they're watching you up there. And it just was so cool to see that payoff and to show them that you can literally go from point A to point B as long as you work hard and keep your head up and keep going.
I love that. I love that. Real quick, is there anything you learned, like a life lesson that you can apply from what you did with your family on the farm to like what you're doing now or want to do in the future? Is there like any life lesson, any takeaway?
You have to stay humble, because you can be on cloud nine and it can be taken away in an instant. And we've experienced that. I think all farmers experience that. Everyone experiences that in their life. And I think just being humble, you celebrate the wins and you walk away from the losses with your head held high, knowing you did the best you could. And that's so important with showing. That's so important with life as well.
Tessa, you should consider public speaking. I mean, you're so inspirational and really, really cool to talk to. And I know so many people, both young kids, young boys, young girls, can really look up to you and admire you. I do, just in terms of getting to know you for a little bit here. I'm so excited for you and what's to come.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Congrats again on the big win for you. And I know your family's smiling too.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Thank you so much. Take care, my friend. All righty. Oh, guys, wasn't she awesome? She was fantastic. All right. We have so much more to come still here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, from huge wins to the Brewers to the fall weather we have been enjoying the past couple of days and what those tailgaters will enjoy tomorrow night during Game 5. We're also going to talk about an investigation we're following here that our Jason Calby's leading for us for Fox 6 News later on in the broadcast today. He'll unpack the latest on that a little bit after we take a quick short break. Again, thank you so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We'll be back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Donovan Long here. Want to get to one of our big stories that we're following here locally in our community. We know that an off-duty police officer shot and killed, according to investigators, an armed man on the north side of Milwaukee. This has been one of our major stories we've been following since it broke yesterday morning. Our Jason Calby's picking up the coverage for us this afternoon. He's joined us on the Wisconsin Live Desk to kind of break down what we know so far. Jason, first, thank you, brother, for being here. I know you have a very busy day ahead, a lot to unpack. The new news is there's an attorney, a nationally known attorney, Biavri Lamar, flying in to join the family of the guy they investigators say was shot and killed yesterday. What can you tell us about his involvement?
Is going to be coming. He's flying into Milwaukee as we speak. And the next step is he's going to be visiting with the family, and they're going to go right over to visit and hear and watch the video of this incident. MPD has video. We can confirm that it was from one of the vehicles that was involved with yesterday's incident. And there was some video recording of the entire incident. So the family is going to be able to watch that video with their attorney today, this afternoon. And then right after that, they're going to have a news conference at 4:30. And after that news conference, they're going to be doing a balloon release also in honor of Elijah Wilkes, who died yesterday. Police say that that video is going to show that he hit the officer with a gun, what's referred to commonly as a pistol whip. That's what MPD is saying happened in that video. And then that there was shots fired between the police officer and Elijah Wilkes. So that's what we're going to see potentially, according to MPD, in that video once they release it.
And Jason, I know as well as you know, we've been hearing so many conflicting reports from witnesses versus what police say happened. So this video is a huge piece of this investigation, which will likely give us in this community and the person who died's family a lot of insight as to what happened yesterday before shots were fired. Do we know, in terms of the officer who was released, who was involved in this shooting, do we know the extent of the injuries of that person?
The MPA, the Milwaukee Police Association, which is the union that represents this officer, they visited with him yesterday in the hospital, and the police union president told me that that officer did have injuries to his face, that he had blood and other what they consider evidence that he was hit with a gun yesterday. I asked for photos of some of the injuries, even if they could just give us a close-up image of it to protect the officer's privacy right now, and they didn't have that. They weren't able to share it. They didn't have video or pictures to share with us. And I also asked MPD, the police department, to share a picture of the injuries, and they said they weren't going to do that. I know the union was looking into my request and still hasn't gotten back to me if they're going to share with us a picture showing what they say was major injury to the face because of a gun hitting that officer, according to what police say.
Now, we know they're not, as you mentioned, not releasing those photos of the injuries just yet, but they, according to MPD policy, will at some point release the video of this shooting. Can you break down the policy a little bit so that our viewers know exactly what that policy is and when they could possibly see the video?
Yeah, so there's a whole timeline that's laid out in the standard operating procedure from MPD. And the first step is what you're going to see this afternoon. The family of the person who died, they're going to have the first right to see that video within 48 hours according to the policy, but it's happening today within more than 24 hours. A day later, they're going to see that video. And the policy says then after that, after the family sees it, there are steps of potentially redacting private information. We can get into all the different details about what potentially could be redacted or edited from the video. We can look at that in a little bit. But so that whole process will take place. And then 48 hours before the video is released publicly, then the police union is able to see the video, as well as any lawyers involved with the case. And also the DA's office will also be brought in to look at that video, watch it. The police department will then consult with the district attorney's office to figure out next steps before that video is released. According to the standard operating procedure, that video should be released publicly within 15 days.
Okay. Here was a question I kind of had. So the officer was, we know, an off-duty officer at the time that police say this deadly shooting happened. So does the, I suppose, video policy apply to that officer if he was off duty, if he or she was off duty?
Yeah, I was reading through looking at going and really delving into the policy to figure out what this says about off duty versus on duty. We definitely know that the police chief says they are planning to follow this procedure for this officer. The policy does say anytime there's what they call a critical incident, but what we're talking about here is an officer-involved death. That's what the policy refers to. The phrasing that the policy itself refers to is an officer-involved death. Anytime there's an officer-involved death, then if it's on duty, for sure, 100%, that's going to be part of this policy. It does say off-duty when the officer, quote, asserts or could assert that he or she was performing activities that are within the scope of his or her law enforcement duties. So kind of wordy legalese there, but off-duty when potentially there's law enforcement activity taking place.
I see. And just to kind of recap that, you indicated earlier at the top of this interview that the video is coming from a vehicle that the off-duty officer was driving.
Yes, today the police chief was asked about that. There was reporting out that the officer involved with this incident had some sort of dash camera or video camera on his personal vehicle. And when the police chief was asked about that, he said yes. He didn't confirm that it was from the officer's car, but he did say that one of the two cars in this incident had video recording, and that captured this incident.
I understand. I understand. Jason, you were out there yesterday too. After this happened, what has been the community response so far?
Well, we definitely were seeing a lot of tense moments yesterday when we were on the scene of this shooting and this death. And what we saw was the family and some friends of the person who died very, very much upset, and they were challenging and pushing back on the police description of a pistol whipping, and followed by the a shootout, so to speak. So they were pushing back that they didn't think that their loved one was capable of doing that. It wasn't in his character, one of the aunts said, wasn't in this Elijah Wilkes' character, according to the aunt, to do something like pistol whip an officer. But when it comes down to it, we're going to see that video within 15 days. We've asked MPD to release it earlier because of the high stakes that are at play here, and two competing versions of what happened. That video will show us, according to people I've talked with, that video will show the entire interaction between these two people.
Wow, that's going to provide a lot of answers for a lot of people who need them for legal reasons, who need them for closure, and who need them with regard to this investigation. Jason, just real quickly before you go, brother, the main thing we're expecting to see today is a news conference from the National Attorney, B. Ivory Lamar, who will now evidently represent the family of Elijah Wilkes, who died in that shooting with police, an off-duty officer, I should say specifically.
Yes, that is the big update that we're looking to see tonight. That will follow. I mean, the major update is going to be the family getting the chance, according to the policy. The next of kin is the one who gets to view that video along with their attorneys. So the family is going to see this video this afternoon, probably in the next couple hours, because then at 4:30 they're going to have a news conference to talk about what they saw in that video. And they're also going to be having a balloon release as well.
Okay, Jason Calvi on top of it all for us. Jason, honestly, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you so much for joining us here and unpacking the latest with this investigation.
Thanks, Donovan.
Anytime. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick short break, but we'll be right back with more news and current events with regard to what's happening in our community and outside of it. Thanks for joining us here. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Donovan Long here. Time 1:14. One of the big national stories that we just continue to follow is the government shutdown. I want to give you a live view of Capitol Hill right now, where this whole stalemate between Democrats and Republicans continues to play out, affecting so many federal workers and people in this community as well. As you can imagine, listen, this government shutdown is now expected to extend into next week. Congress honestly still appears to be at a standstill. They are deadlocked on a funding plan, and we know the Senate isn't scheduled to hold any more votes until next Tuesday, hence which is why this government shutdown is expected to extend into next week. So we're talking so many federal workers, TSA workers, troops may be at risk of not getting their paycheck as well. Members of our military, they won't get their next paychecks, as well as air traffic controllers. So many people, so many facets of our community are affected by this. We do know, according to the Associated Press, the White House Budget Office said earlier today that mass firings of federal workers have already started, kind of in an attempt to exert more pressure on Democratic lawmakers as the government shutdown continues. This is something that we know has a potential to last for weeks, days at a time, again, extending into next week, and there's really no end in sight for this. We know that several furloughed workers are trying to figure out what's next. They're in limbo until the shutdown ends. We do know that this is, I believe, day 10 of the government shutdown. But there is no end in sight at the moment. And so this is something we are continuing to monitor around the clock because this affects so many people. We do know that we had a story on earlier on Wake Up on the broadcast. You may have seen it, but we talked about essentially how the air traffic control workers are obviously necessary to airports and to pilots and co-pilots and everyone else involved in making sure we get off and land safely. In any event, those folks still have to show up, and that is a very tireless job. They have families to feed. They can't get a paycheck. And so a lot of the talk from political experts and from people who are close to this say that managers are putting these people's jobs at risk in terms of saying they will get fired potentially for not showing up to work. But it makes you wonder, like, how could these folks show up to work when they're not getting paid to do that job and they have mouths and families to feed? So this is very heartbreaking, and as you can imagine, a very stressful moment for so many federal workers who are caught in limbo because of this government shutdown that we think will likely continue on into next week as Congress remains deadlocked, cannot reach a deal. So that is something that isn't going to go away yet. That is something that hasn't been rectified yet, but something we will continue to keep our eyes on as this continues. In the meantime, all eyes will be on this bad boy right here, American Family Field. We know the Brewers will take on the Cubs there later tomorrow night around 7:08, which I believe is first pitch. You see the roof is closed, and for good reason. Why? Well, just check out the temperatures, y'all. Heading into tomorrow evening, starting at 5 p.m., temps looking like in the 60s, 60 degrees right there. 7 p.m. around first pitch, 57 degrees. 9 p.m., 56 degrees, meaning you all are going to need a hoodie, a hat, some layers out there, especially if you are going to tailgate. At least the food will be good. That'll keep you warm. Or some Miller Lights, that may also do the trick. All of this to say, everybody is preparing for Game 5 tomorrow night at American Family Field. Now, we know this had to happen because the Brewers lost to the Cubs 6-0 in NLDS Game 4 last night. However, Milwaukee and Chicago now tied 2-2 in the best-of-5 series, which opens the door again for Game 5, which will be played tomorrow night. I want to, if possible, get to our producer, Carrie Doctor, right here in the flesh. Carrie, let me see if I can pull you up here, brother. Oh, is it working? There he is. I got you now, man. So you've grown up here. You've seen the Brewers since you've been a kid. What is it like to experience the momentum now? What kind of team is it compared to the team you grew up with?
It's definitely a team that people can wrap their heads around, and you know, when you talk about the summer of Sal Frelick, and some of the pitchers, everybody knows, you know, Brandon Woodruff, you know, Woody. It's just a team that it's really hard not to like, because you know, they're not the highest paid team in the MLB. They're out there, and we've had so many come from behind victories.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I look back to like the 1982 World Series team, that was just one lovable team as well. I could, off the top of my head, I could name all the players, you know, on the field right off the top of my head, and I think that's the way it's going to be for a lot of fans this year.
What are you looking forward to in terms of tomorrow? Obviously a win, but how do you think it's going to shake out? Do you think we can grab a win because we have home field advantage?
I'd like to think that we can pull this one out.
Yeah.
You know, when I was talking with some of our colleagues in the newsroom, you know, clearly the home field advantage has played a role. You saw that the last couple of games in Chicago, where the fans really got into it.
Yeah.
And I think that was the case too for American Family Field. So we just need fans to come out and you know, save their voices for tomorrow. Don't waste it all in the ballpark, you know, or out in the parking lot before the game.
Yes.
Save it for the game. I did want to point out one thing.
Yes.
You know, you had the forecast up before, and
Sure.
you showed the picture of AmFam Field. The roof was closed.
Yes.
You can bring that up.
Sure can. Gotcha.
But you'll notice the panels are open. So that forecast was with a northeast wind, you know, 9 miles an hour or whatever.
You're right.
Those panels faced exactly to the northeast.
Really?
So those panels, I think, are going to be closed as well. And, you know, even though it's only going to be in the upper 50s, low 60s, fans like their comfort now. So I think nobody's going to have any problems getting their charcoal grill started, because there'll be a nice breeze. But that's why I'm pretty sure they're going to have the roof closed and the panels closed because of that lake breeze coming in.
No kidding. No kidding. Kerry, let me ask you this. What has it been like to be a Brewers fan from a professional capacity? You work in news. You have a clear, storied career in this capacity. What has it been like to follow the team from this vantage point?
It definitely has been exciting you know, we say a lot especially in our newsroom. There's a few producers who are probably even more avid than I am. You know, it's our year. It's our year. And there are definitely some years where, you know, you can just feel it, the energy, the excitement. 2018 was one of those years. You know, the year in 1987 when the Brewers went on the start of the season with their 12, 13 games in a row. I happened to be at the Easter Sunday game, which was number 12, which got us all the George Webb burgers.
Man,
so
okay.
Definitely, you know, the people who are diehard. I'm a lifelong Brewers fan, lifelong Packers fan. So, yeah, definitely exciting.
Dude, I love that. Okay, is there anything like your favorite foods that the organization has rolled out? Obviously, you have Murph's Pocket Pancakes that have become like an internet sensation, but have also become like a fan favorite too. Is there anything in terms of like the fun, you know, funny side of the organization? Is there anything you enjoy in that capacity?
Boy, well, in terms of food, I think you got to go and get a brat or some kind of sausage at the ballpark. That really makes it. You know, cheese curds. Families definitely love the cheese curds because they offer those. I have to say, the last couple of games that I've been to, went to the taco stand. They have their tacos there rock.
Really?
So I know that the ballpark offers so many different choices,
much.
But yeah, I always gravitate towards the sausages.
No, fair.
One or two, and a hot dog day, you got to have 2 or 3 of those, you know, because you know, $1 hot dog day, what the heck?
It's only right. All right, do we have any giveaways that are happening?
I don't think we do.
Okay.
I'm sure they're going to have the towels for every fan.
Okay,
you
fair.
know, the Magic Brew towels, those have been really popular, and I see them hanging up on doors in my neighborhood and stuff like that. So yeah.
Kerry, what's been really cool too, which I believe was a first for the organization, and we had some of our reporters there live. What was it? Day before yesterday, the Brewers Express, where the Brewers got a chance to hop on the train, head to Chicago to watch the game there. But it was really cool just to see the camaraderie and to see people rally around the team, and that respect and just board a bus with a complimentary brat, and just head to Chicago. And we know how things worked out in Chicago. In any event, still cool to see the fan base represented that way.
Oh, absolutely. And, everybody loves a winner for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
So, and yes, not everybody is hardcore Brewers, but the city will eat this up, just like, when the Bucks won back in 21 or, when the Packers took the 2 Super Bowls, this state was electric. When the Badgers went on that roll of Rose Bowl victories, it just becomes electric. Everybody wants to be a part of it, whether they're just wearing their gear, they're going out to bars with friends, or gathering at homes. In my neighborhood, I know there are families that are getting together because all of a sudden there's 12 cars out in front of the house.
That's so funny.
So everybody's doing it, and quite honestly, watching on your big screen TV is so enjoyable now. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, even those watch parties have seemed cool. I couldn't make it out to any because of the early alarm clock, but it was. But it's been cool to see the photos of the watch party, specifically at the Harley Davidson venue outside there with the giant TV screen, the food trucks, tailgating activities. It was super cool to see. I was just kind of living vicariously through the photos.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think people just enjoy it. There's Brewers flags hanging outside of homes now. We showed the one person who spray painted the Brewers logo on their front yard.
Yes, I saw that.
Over by Story Hill, so that's really cool.
Next level, man. Next level. All right, Kerry, do we have time for a quick break?
I think we do.
All righty, brother, let's take it. We'll be right back with more Wild with both Kerry and me and the rest of the gang. We'll see you right back on the other side of the break. Thanks, Kerry.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon, everybody. We have made it to Friday. Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Donovan Long here. I want to spotlight one of our organizations, or rather initiatives, that we are so passionate about here at Fox 6. It's this Buddy Check 6. We do this in honor of breast cancer awareness. This is something that I'm pretty new to. In line with that, we also participate in the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer through the American Cancer Society. I'll be out there along with some of my colleagues tomorrow morning. The gates open at the Meyer Festival Park, the South Gate, specifically at 8 a.m. Mary Stoker Smith will be emceeing this wonderful event. She'll start that at 9:40 a.m. The walk itself will begin at 10, and the festivities will last until noon. But you can see to the picture off to the left side of the information side of the screen. You've got Derica there, Mary, of course, Ted Perry next to her, then Stephanie Barrichello and Nicola here. So we are all looking forward to recreating some of those memories with you and meeting and seeing you all. And we want to do our part to support so many of you in our community, especially those of you who are battling or know somebody battling cancer. All right, folks, that's going to do it for me for the Friday afternoon here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. My colleague Haley will be joining you in just a second. You will be in capable hands. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back into the Wisconsin Live Desk this Friday afternoon. It is Haley Spittler. I'll be spending the next hour with you, and then our final hour will be our very own Sam Kramer. I know you've had a great hour learning all about things going on in our community from Donovan. And I want to go ahead and right away bring in our very own Brett Lemoyne. He's been working on a story today that is so important. October, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And Brett, I know you've been learning about how coffee shops are actually lending a hand. Tell us more.
Yeah, Haley, before we dive into that, let's just unpack for a moment the magnitude of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We're at the Women's Center in Waukesha, and every year in October they fill their lawn here with these purple silhouettes. It's really a sobering reminder of the number of lives lost to domestic violence in Waukesha County. 71 people from 1992 until last year. Sadly, 3 were added in 2024. The Women's Center is seeing an increase in people reaching out for help. From 2023 till last year, they saw a 54% increase in the number of people dialing their hotline for help with either domestic violence or sexual assault. And just from September of last year until September of this year, it was a 13% increase. So what they did here at the Women's Center is they're always trying to reach the individuals out there in need of help who are not being helped, right? That are silent victims, if you will. And so what they've done is they've created a new campaign for the month of October where they've partnered with about 3 or 4 local coffee shops in Waukesha County, and they've added their information, their hotline number, and also some sobering statistics to coffee sleeves at all of these coffee shops. We were just at Mama D's on Hartwell Avenue in Waukesha a little while ago and saw them being put on these coffee sleeves and handed out to individuals who go in for their daily round of coffee. And they said it's really been a conversation starter for a lot of customers that maybe had never talked about domestic violence before, or maybe they know someone who's in need of help and they don't know how to address it. This is a really simple way, Haley, just giving that individual a cup of coffee with that number on it, they say could reach obviously thousands of people. 8,000 coffee sleeves are being distributed this week alone to those coffee shops.
Yeah, 8,000 sleeves. I mean, that is 8,000 potential conversations that can be started on such an important cause. I think it's powerful to see that visual representation behind you of the lives lost represented there. I'm curious, I know you were able to go to at least one of these coffee shops. Were you able to speak with any of the workers on why this was important for them to participate in and say, yeah, we'll do this with the coffee sleeves?
Yeah, at Mama D's, they said they've partnered with the Women's Center before. In fact, they have a whole display that you'll be able to see in our full report when it streams on Fox Local later today. They have a whole display there with resource information, pamphlets, also wristbands with that hotline number on it too. They say it's a really important thing that they want to do to try and reach all individuals out in Waukesha County that may be experiencing domestic violence. Again, the goal here not only to reach the victims, but also reach those support individuals too that may be in someone's life that recognizes that there is a problem and is trying to get that individual help. This is a really easy way, again, to break that ice, to start that conversation.
Yeah, Brett, I think that's such an important reminder as well. I know sometimes it can be hard if you see a loved one and you think perhaps they're in a bad situation, but you don't know how to start that conversation. I love that they are doing this at coffee shops. And I mean, what an encouraging statistic you started out with, that there's been a 54% increase in people reaching out for help. What does the Women's Center credit that to? Is it things like this with the coffee sleeves?
Yeah, it's these kind of unique methods to reach individuals. It was actually the brainchild of a woman here, an advocate that works at the Women's Center, who is also a former barista. So she said she knows firsthand the types of conversations that people have when they're either waiting in line for their coffee or, you know, sharing a moment with that barista while they're handing over the cup of coffee. They know that that person could potentially be a lifeline. And we should also point out, Haley, this isn't just a uniquely Waukesha County problem that is being experienced in our area. In fact, the Women's Center in Waukesha tells us more than half, more than half of the people that they help are actually from Milwaukee County. So it's individuals that don't even feel safe anymore being in Milwaukee County, being close to their abuser. that they come here seeking shelter and resources here as well. So it's a widespread issue, sadly, but one that, like you said, a number of people are being helped. In 2024 alone, 16,000 people had some type of interaction with the Women's Center, whether it be coming here for shelter, calling that hotline number, you name it. But 16,000 people, that number alone, too, also just mind-boggling.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like that just proves what a valuable resource this is to have in Waukesha and in the Milwaukee area. I'm curious if you were able to talk to anybody at the Women's Center today who maybe shared what their message would be to anybody who is currently experiencing this, who is a victim to domestic violence.
Well, that message, Haley, is on those coffee sleeves. It's your voice matters. There is help out there. And so just a powerful thing if you think that is in the hands of all these people now, to empower them to call that number, to seek help. And so they haven't been able to kind of quantify if the coffee sleeves have had an impact yet, only because they just started going out on Tuesday, so they've only been out for a couple of days. But again, just looking at those statistics here at the Women's Center, the number of people that have reached out over the last year or two has been increasing pretty substantially. When you think Waukesha County, the population isn't that large compared to, say, Milwaukee County, that also puts things in perspective. Now, of course, that's independent of the number of people who are coming over from Milwaukee County to seek shelter here. We're just talking about the number of people impacted directly here in Waukesha County.
Yeah, I mean, what a powerful message there, Brett. I mean, not just that your voice matters, but I also would argue you're not alone, and there's no shame in what you're going through to come forward. I think so often, you know, women in domestic violence situations are unfairly judged, whether that be how they ended up there or why they didn't leave sooner. And we definitely need to learn this month, especially, to throw out that judgment. I'm curious, Brett, do you know any other ways that we can get involved, whether that be with the Women's Center or other initiatives this Domestic Violence Awareness Month?
Sure. So, and I apologize, it's a rather busy intersection that we're standing in front of right now, so I apologize for all the extra noise. There are a number of things that are going on. Now, the Women's Center also said they're open and they want to hear from other coffee shops in Waukesha County. If there are any that are interested in taking on these sleeves, they've got more and they will gladly provide it to them. But they are also in need constantly of supplies here at the Women's Center for their shelter. We're talking about not only toiletry items for individuals who are coming here, adults that are being abused, but also for their children as well. And we'll make sure that we have a list on Fox Local Mobile later today when the story posts of items that are in need. But that's one direct way that you can help if you're watching this and you want to help individuals who are experiencing domestic violence. That's one way. But I think the goal here, especially with these coffee sleeves, is to talk about it. It's to have that dialogue and to just be aware, to educate yourself of the signs that someone may be in a situation where they're also in need of help too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that idea of donating, but again, it's so easy to start a conversation. It can be hard, it can be uncomfortable, but the more that we do this, the quicker we can put an end to domestic violence. Brett, I'm really looking forward to your full story, getting more resources online, so we'll let you go, but thank you so much for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and let's try and get some of these coffee sleeves in more coffee shops. I love that call to action there, Brett.
Great. Thank you, Haley.
Yeah, that's our very own Brett Lemoyne joining us right out of Waukesha again. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, such an important cause to get behind. And I love his reminder there, how important it is just to start these conversations. And a reminder that if you're going through a situation like that, there is no shame, and please seek help. And if you know someone who you think is in a situation where they might be a domestic violence victim, to also offer them your love, your support, and guide them to some of those resources that are available out in the community. Such an important story he's working on that, of course, we will have coming up for you later on Fox Local. We are going to take a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm going to monitor some of these feeds behind me, see what we can find, and we'll bring you some more news coming up next.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley joining you this Friday afternoon. Time check for you. It is 1:46 and it is 60 degrees. It actually feels like fall outside. Let's take a live look outside. This is, of course, the Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport. I specifically queued up this camera for us because my friend is actually in the air right now, making her way to Milwaukee. This is very exciting. I love getting to show off my new city to my friends. We have a jam-packed weekend itinerary all stacked up. And I gotta say, her main request, so she's coming from Florida, her main request was that she wanted fall temperatures. And I was getting a little nervous because it was very hot the last few weekends. In fact, I think last Friday we actually had record heat, but she got her wish. All of a sudden, fall really did arrive this week and this weekend for sure it will continue. Because when you step outside, it's chilly, but not too cold. You know, it's not winter full on yet. It's definitely just some fall temperatures. Let's take a look at our 6-day planner here. You can see today a high of 67, low of 48, which is kind of crazy to even see 40s back in our planner there. Good news is they're at least the lows. They're not the highs just yet. And then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 60s is your high the entire time. And it's looking like it's going to be a dry weekend, which is nice. Of course, if you have plans to go to AmFam, you don't have to worry about the rain because even if it did rain, they've got a roof, which I know Donovan was already showing you this shot earlier today, but the roof is closed right now. But tomorrow, this place gonna be packed out for Game 5 of the NLDS, which if you have tickets to Game 5, one, congratulations. Not a single seat available. It is completely sold out. But two, I know when you buy Game 5, you never know if the game's actually going to happen. Of course, 4 and 5 are only on an as-necessary basis. So you might have been wondering, will I get to see the postseason baseball or will this game not even happen? It's happening, which is crazy because I didn't think it would be, especially when the Cubs dropped the first 2 games. Of course, it's no secret here. I am a Cubs fan. I was hopeful. I was optimistic because I was reminding everybody that when it came to our World Series win in 2016, we were down 3-1 in the World Series, meaning we were in a win or you lose situation the final 3 games against the Cleveland Indians. And we did it. We won each time. We won the World Series. So I said we can win 3 straight, but it might be tricky. But I am nervous because, as Donovan and Carrie were already talking about, it has definitely been home field advantage this entire series. Obviously, the Brewers won both at AmFam to start things off. The Cubs followed, winning the next 2 at Wrigley. What is going to happen for Game 5? I want to bring in our producer, Carrie. Carrie, you got a prediction? What do you think's happening?
I think the Brewers are going to pull this one out. I think the home field advantage is going to play a factor again, and no doubt it's going to be a close one. I think we'll look to that first inning to see what happens, because the first inning of every game has been bonkers.
It's so true. I feel like the Cubs can only score in the first inning, and unfortunately, the first 2 games, that wasn't enough. I mean, Game 2, I thought we did it. We won, or we had our 3-run homer in the first, and then we allowed a 3-run homer in the first, and then another homer, and then another 3-run homer. So the first inning has definitely been something to watch. Any idea who you think is going to be taking the mound for your Brewers?
I think it might be a bullpen game again. That has been some of the buzz, so I'm not 100% sure. It'll be interesting. You know, we're clearly missing Woody on the mound. It would be nice to have him back, but I think it might be a bullpen effort.
Yeah, I mean, the Cubs wish they had Kate Horton, so we understand what it's like to be missing your pitchers this postseason October baseball. I'm thinking it's going to be Shota Imanaga for the Cubs, but Craig Counsell likes to keep it tight-lipped until he absolutely needs to disclose that information. Carrie, you and I were talking in the newsroom. It was pretty friendly. It got a little heated. We're obviously on different ends of this series. I would like you to explain your thoughts on PCA. Our center fielder that you don't always have the fondest feelings for.
Well, I think it's the same way for Cubs fans with the Miz as well. These are 2 young guys that are full of vim and vigor, just very excited about playing baseball. You can tell they're passionate about the game. And I know there were some people who weren't entirely thrilled of the way the Miz came off of the mound in that first inning that he pitched, and he was all pumped. But I look at it as,
that's what he did.
Here's a young guy who's just really excited to be in a position. I mean, he's in his early 20s, and he's playing in a big, high-stakes game, you know. And I think that's the case for the center fielder for Chicago.
Yeah, I do think with Pete Crow Armstrong, sometimes I feel like, you know, he needs to learn how to stay calm and cool and collected. He gets on himself when he doesn't get the hits that he wants, or if he misses a catch in the outfield that he thinks he really should have snagged. But it is a good reminder just to see that they care. You're right. Passion just means they understand the stakes here. They want to not let their team down. They want to keep playing. And the last 3 games have been win or you're done, Cubs. So I do understand it's high stakes, it's emotion. We'll see what happens on Saturday.
It'll be a good one.
It'll be a good one.
I would strongly suggest anybody who wants to watch the game, get there early. And then if you're tuning in, make sure you tune in before the first inning, because a lot has been happening in that first inning.
Absolutely. That is so true. And I do want to remind everybody, Carrie, while we have a chance here, please send us your pics. We have been loving getting to celebrate the Brew Crew. Yes, even as a Cubs fan, I love celebrating the Brew Crew this postseason by sending us your photos. All you got to do is scan that QR code, and we've been showing them off here on the Wisconsin Live Desk in all of our newscasts. It's October baseball. It's special. There's just a different kind of energy behind it, and we love seeing you guys celebrate, whether that be you at AmFam, you around Milwaukee, you watching from your favorite bar, or maybe from your living room. I have not noticed this photo of the pup wearing his Brewers jersey. That is adorable. That is the kind of photo I need to see more of. So please scan that QR code, send us your Brewers pics, because we want to keep showing them off right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And I know we already popped it up, but just as a reminder, game times can always change postseason. So before we thought this might be an afternoon game, but now it is solidified. Tomorrow, 7:08. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that. Tomorrow night, 7:08. It's who's going to continue to the NLCS? They'll be playing the Dodgers, which, Carrie, can we talk about that? Did you see how the Phillies game ended yesterday?
I did, yeah. And I actually feel for Philadelphia fans.
Yes.
Not only because the Phillies lost, but because the Eagles got beat by the Giants yesterday. So it was a bad day to be a Philadelphia fan.
Yeah, I feel for that pitcher. You know that he is going to have nightmares about throwing home instead of first. If you guys missed it, it was an extra innings game. Bases were loaded. They had 2 outs. The ball came back to the pitcher. He kind of fobbled it a little bit and then threw it home way off when he should have just thrown it to first base. So I feel for him. It did seem like the team was reminding him that it's not all on you. You know, you're okay, you're learning. It comes with the more years you have in the majors. But yeah, that was a brutal ending for the Phillies and an exciting ending for the Dodgers. They avoided a Game 5 there.
Definite heartbreak for sure, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, hey, we've talked baseball. I think it's time that we get you guys ready for some Sunday football. I know the Packers were off last week. They had their bye week, so now they are ready to go. They will be playing here at Lambeau. They've got a home field game Sunday against the Bengals. That one's set for 3:25, which I'm taking a look again at our 6-day planner, which should be like mid-60s. So it should be some pretty good weather out in Green Bay if you're heading out to Lambeau. I think this is why I hate saying this, because I would have said that I thought it was going to be a slam dunk for the Philadelphia Eagles last night, and then they lost it to the Giants. But the Bengals are without their quarterback, Joe Burrow, so I would think it should be good for the Packers, although the Bengals did sign a new quarterback. Did you see this, Carrie, this past week?
I did.
Joe Flacco. What are your thoughts?
He's already beat us once this season, so
that's true.
You just never know.
You never know. And I think that's what makes sports so fun. Even when you go in and the odds say that you're going to win with like a 98% chance, it's never guaranteed, and you never know who's going to walk away the victor. But hopefully the green and gold can walk away with yet another win this season. It'd be kind of fun if, you know, your Packers got the win Sunday, your Brewers got the win Saturday. It'd also be kind of fun if the Cubs got the win Saturday, the Bears got the win Sunday. We'll make it work. We can all get along here. Wisconsin, Chicago, I promise. I promise Cubs fans aren't that bad, you guys. I really do, I promise. All right, hey, we're going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes with some more news happening here in Wisconsin, happening around the country. Honestly, you never know. Sometimes we go around the world. We'll see what we can find on the feeds, and we'll be back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. We are almost approaching 2 p.m. this Friday afternoon, which means you've almost done it. You've almost made it through your work week, or maybe you already have if you're tuning into the Wisconsin Live Desk. But I hope you've got a good weekend lineup. I hope you've got some good things you're looking forward to doing. We have been monitoring the feeds. I did want to head out quickly to D.C. We're taking a live look here at the White House, where we're told the president actually just returned from his semi-annual physical. So we haven't gotten any kind of answers about how the physical went at Walter Reed. It is totally normal, totally protocol checkup there. We do know that he didn't want to answer any questions when he arrived, getting back from that physical when reporters were kind of tossing some questions at him. So we'll see if we get any results from that physical. Of course, D.C., all eyes remain really on Congress, which we can show you that as well right here, this camera. The government shutdown is about to enter week 3. It doesn't seem like we're going to see an end really anytime soon. Of course, yesterday the Senate failed to pass a vote to get some temporary funding. It was the 7th time it was up for a vote, and no one had budged. The way the votes came in for the first time was the way the votes were still that 7th time. So we will continue to keep our eye on that if there's any updates. Of course, I know Donovan was already telling you about some layoffs of furloughed workers that were happening at the federal level as the Trump administration tries to use that as a negotiation tactic to see if they can get any of the Democrats to change their vote to pass that budget to get the government funded again. So it's something we're monitoring closely. I know sometimes here on the Wisconsin Live Desk we're able to see lawmakers answer questions and speak to media. So if any of that pops up at any time during the Wisconsin Live Desk, we will certainly bring that to you here. I do want to go ahead and actually bring in our very own Jason Calvi. If you were with us earlier on the Wisconsin Live Desk, he was chatting with Donovan, but he is covering a very important story that started actually yesterday of an off-duty Milwaukee police officer shooting and killing an armed man. And Jason, I know we are just a couple hours away from getting an update out of this one. But for anybody who's joining us now on the Wisconsin Live Desk, can you catch us up to speed?
Yeah, Haley, yesterday morning there was, according to Milwaukee police, there was a traffic accident involving an off-duty police officer and another man. They said both of the men got out of the car. MPD says that that other man had a gun and hit the officer in the face with the gun. The police union said, when I interviewed them yesterday, said they actually visited that officer in the hospital. They said he had injuries to his face, had evidence of blood as well on his face. And so that's according to the police union. There's also video of this entire interaction between the two people that is going to be released at some point in time. And right now there's a whole process that's taking place on that particular issue. And today I can tell you the family of the man who died yesterday is going to watch that video.
Yeah, and we heard actually that an attorney that plans to represent them was on their way to Milwaukee. What do we expect to come out? Because there's going to be a press conference later on. What kind of information do we expect to learn, if any, from that?
Well, the family's going to watch that video beforehand, and Elijah Wilkes' family, they're going to have the chance to watch that video according to MPD policy. They have to watch that video, have to be invited to watch that video within 48 hours after the incident. So according to what MPD said happened, there was this car accident. They said that this man, Elijah, they didn't use his name, but the families identified him as Elijah Wilkes, then hit the officer with the gun, and then there was a shootout between the two, at which point the off-duty officer, MPD says, struck and the man was killed in that incident. So that's what MPD said happened. The family said that they didn't believe that that's what happened. They said there's no way that Elijah Wilkes, in his character, according to the aunt, his character was not one that would have pistol whipped an officer. So that's what the family's saying. They don't believe that he attacked the officer. That is going to be potentially seen in this video that the family sees. What really happened there is going to be seen in that video. According to one source I talked with, the entire interaction between them was captured by this camera. So that's what the family is going to see this afternoon. And then at 4:30, they're going to have a news conference to talk about what they saw in that video, talk about potential next steps, and then they're going to have a balloon release.
Of course, you will be at that press conference. I know you will be bringing the latest information during our afternoon newscasts. You mentioned there the family identified the man that was shot and killed as Elijah Wilkes. The Milwaukee County Medical Examiner confirmed that today. What do we know about Elijah? Has his family spoken out at all?
Yeah, they did speak out yesterday. You know, we were on the scene of this, where all this was taking place. The family was gathered there. There were several family members that spoke to us and shared their story. One friend of Elijah Wilkes said she was on FaceTime. She was on a video call with him at the time of the accident, and then she said after the accident there was about a 2-minute gap, and then she said she heard gunshots.
You talked about being on the scene yesterday, and I know it was a tense scene. It became a situation of almost a he said, she said between the family and the Milwaukee Police Department. So how important is it that supposedly there is this video that's going to show the whole incident?
Yeah, and the police chief did confirm that the video came from one of the 2 vehicles in the accident. So we're going to have the opportunity, or at least the family's going to have the opportunity to witness that. Another source told me that the entire interaction was captured on tape. So that is going to be, when is it going to be released? You know, when you look at the MPD policy, it lays out a whole timeline for releasing this video publicly. The first step, within 48 hours of the incident, the family, the next of kin, is invited to watch that video. Then after that, 48 hours, at least 48 hours before the video is released to the public, then the police union's invited to watch the video. The district attorney's office is invited to watch that video. And there's also a process where the police department will get feedback from the DA's office before releasing that video. So there's several steps. And then there's this whole redaction process that takes place as well. So there's certain things that MPD is going to blur out. For example, just according to the policy, there's a bunch of things that could potentially be blurred out in the video before they release it. We can go into those steps if you want, Haley, but that takes time as well. So according to MPD policy, they are to release the video within 15 days. Now, it can be earlier than that, and in this instance where you've got really competing visions and competing stories of what happened, it is really important to get that video out so we can get those answers. We can see it with our own eyes what happened. But right now we've been asking MPD to release the video. They said they're going to follow this process according to their standard operating procedures.
I appreciate you breaking that down for us, because I think in a situation like this, Jason, where there is such a difference of what's being said happened at the scene, people do wonder, if you have this video, why not just show us right now? And you're explaining it's because this person needs to see it, then this party that needs to see it, then these people need to see it. So absolutely, when it does get released to the public, of course, Fox 6 will bring that to you and get you the latest information. I'm curious, what do we know about this off-duty officer that's involved in this, Jason?
Yeah, 40 years old, more than 20 years of experience as a police officer. He pretty much, well, there's some certain things I can't say on the record, so I'll leave it there. 40 years old, 20 years on the force.
Do we know how that officer is doing?
Yes, so he was, according to the police union, they did visit with him in the hospital yesterday, and they said that there was evidence that he had been injured, that he had marks on his face, he had evidence of blood as well as other issues with his face, and he was at the hospital. He was taken to the hospital yesterday and then was released, at least according to the police union, he was released from the hospital yesterday.
Jason, I also just want to mention, too, because we did hear from the police chief yesterday in a brief press conference, and one thing that he really mentioned was this started as a minor accident. It started as a collision between 2 cars, and it ended in a situation that involved deadly force. What was kind of his main message to the community of Milwaukee of how we avoid going from, a fender bender to this?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely was very much upset with what he said happened, that he said it was this minor fender bender that should have never, ever escalated to a shootout. According to police, the family doesn't believe that story. They're going to have a chance to watch that video today to see what the video captured, and then they're going to speak to the media. So a lot going on here, a lot of questions, but we should have some answers from the family at least by this afternoon when we go on air at 4 and 5 and 6 tonight.
And Jason, what do we know about the attorney that is coming in right now to Milwaukee that will be visiting with the family, viewing the video with the family?
Yeah, so he is going to be, he's flying into town. He may have already landed. I know when I was last checking in with his office, he was en route in a flight to Milwaukee. He is licensed here in Wisconsin. His name is B. Ivory Lamar. He's had some high-profile cases in Wisconsin and also nationally. He is a national attorney that often will represent families in situations like this. He has been retained by the family, according to his office. Attorney Lamar is going to do an independent investigation into what happened, but part of that investigation is what's happening in a few hours, and that is in Milwaukee, where they're going to watch, he and the next of kin, the family of Elijah Wilkes, will be able to watch that video, and then they're going to speak to the media. So yeah, definitely a national attorney here flying into Milwaukee to help the family of Elijah Wilkes.
And then Jason, before I let you go, you covered this yesterday. You're continuing to cover it today. What are the questions that you still have that you're hoping to get answered, whether that be at this press conference or later on in the investigation?
I think just what was, after this car accident, the minor car accident, that as police call it, what was the interaction between the two men? How potentially did it escalate to the point of what MPD says was a shootout? How did this escalate to that? Who shot first? According to the timeline laid out by MPD and the police union, there was an attack by this man using a pistol, using a gun, to attack the face of the police officer. So I want to see that on camera. I want to see then who fired the first shot. According to the police union, the officer, after he was struck in the face, then retreated, and then there was the shootout. Who fired the first shot? What kind of verbal commands were given? What kind of identification was given? I mean, all of that we don't know. All we know, according to MPD, was there was an attack by this armed man, and then a shootout.
Yeah, obviously there's still a lot to learn here, Jason. We know you will be at that press conference, and of course, when you learn and you get things confirmed, you'll bring them to us here on Fox 6 and Fox Local. But thanks so much for taking the time to break down this ongoing investigation here on the Live Desk.
Thanks, Haley.
Again, that is Jason covering that officer-involved shooting from yesterday on the north side of Milwaukee. He did mention what we learned yesterday at that press conference from the police chief was that we do know that both parties fired their guns, but we did not get any clarification. A reporter on scene did ask, do we know who shot first? That was not something the chief did answer. He said it was a fluid investigation, that was not an answer he had yet. So, of course, that's something the video, whenever we get to watch it, would answer. So we will continue to follow this closely. Again, that press conference is scheduled, I believe, for 4 or 4:30 this afternoon. And Jason will bring you all the live reports during our newscast, which you can find here on Fox Local. We're going to take another quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, and then we've got some more things coming up in store after that.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is 2:14 on your Friday afternoon. There is something that just popped up on the feeds that we are monitoring for you. This looks like it's going to be a press conference coming out of Tennessee, where there was a blast at an explosive plant earlier this morning that has left multiple people dead and multiple people missing. This is something we are monitoring, and as soon as officials take to the podium here and provide any new information, we will certainly bring that to you live here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But tomorrow is a Saturday, and I do want to put something on your radar if you are still looking for things to do, especially in the morning. It is time for the annual Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. This is happening at the Meyer Festival Park South Gate. So gates are going to open at 8 a.m. The opening ceremony will be at 9:40. You are not going to want to miss that ceremony. First of all, our very own Mary Stoker-Smith will be emceeing it, but that is often when you get to hear super inspiring stories, messages of hope, of perseverance, of just these women and men who have fought breast cancer, who are going through that journey, sometimes in the moment, sometimes they're survivors. You don't want to miss that opening ceremony. And then, of course, lace up your tennis shoes, because the walk begins at 10 a.m., Then, of course, once you've done the walk, you got to party with that finish line fun. That will go from 10:30 to noon. FOX6 will be out there, several members of our team in their pink, ready to celebrate the survivors and the thrivers and really just spread that message of hope. So if you're looking for something to do tomorrow morning, go out to the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. We were talking with organizers yesterday, and they said it is absolutely not too late. If you're able to pre-register, they recommended you do that, but they said, hey, if you can't even do that, just show up Saturday morning. We would love to have you. Such a good cause, and it's going to have, beautiful weather. I would maybe recommend a pink sweatshirt or a pink long sleeve. It's a little chillier. It's certainly those fall temperatures now, but it will be just an inspiring morning and a reminder that we have some amazing people in our community. The Thriver we got to talk to yesterday, I joked that I needed to take notes because she was just spreading so much with wisdom and positivity with us here on the Live Desk. Okay, guys, I think it's time for question of the day. It is Carrie's very first question of the day with me. So before we get to our true or false, Carrie, it is World Egg Day. I asked you earlier if you like eggs. You said yes. So now I got to know, what's your favorite form of an egg?
I think my favorite form is probably omelet, but I'll eat them scrambled. I'll eat them fried. I love eggs.
Yeah, I think deviled eggs are my favorite right now. I didn't have deviled eggs for the first 23 years of my life, and then I finally tried them. Hooked.
They are pretty amazing.
So good. So good. I also love an eggs Benny, but that might be because I love the hollandaise sauce.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's so many ways you can go with it. I don't think there's a wrong way to do eggs, actually.
Exactly. It's so true. And it's really hard to mess up when you're cooking eggs, because it's if you don't cook it enough, usually you're still fine. You just have a runny egg, or if you do it too much, it's a fried egg. So it's a pretty foolproof cooking method, honestly.
That's what toast is for too. You can sop up the egg mess.
That's right. All right, we have true or false questions that Carrie has prepared. Are there 4?
Well, there's 2 true or false.
Okay.
And then we'll move on from there. So egg 1A, go ahead and grab that one.
Egg 1A, perfect.
True or false?
Oh.
Eggs are bad for your eyes.
Well, I eat a lot of eggs, and I have 20/20 vision, so I want to say false.
Yeah, that is false.
Yes.
Eggs contain, and I might be mispronouncing this, but lutein, like protein, which prevents cataracts and muscle degeneration.
How interesting. The more you know. All right, egg 2A?
2A, yep.
Okay.
It takes a chicken 24 to 26 hours to produce an egg. True or false?
Okay, I feel like it's got to be more, so I'm going to go false.
It is true.
Wow, that's so fast.
It is fast.
Well, I guess you know what? They lay an egg daily. I probably should have thought that one through.
And then let's go to egg 3A.
Okay, let's do the next one.
We're going to do a little math here now. The fastest omelet maker in the world made how many 2-egg omelets in 30 minutes? It's a big number, but go ahead and give it a whirl.
The fastest omelet maker in the world how many 2 egg omelets? Well, I don't know how big the omelet maker would be. Let's say 30.
You're way up. Go way up.
1,000.
Too high. 427 is the answer.
402 in 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes. 427 2-egg omelets. I'm sure he had a whole, or she had a whole row of pans set up to go and just started cracking eggs and dropping them in there. So
I hope there was a lot of hungry people.
exactly. And then last question.
Exactly.
Just for fun, what is the expiration date on the egg carton in your refrigerator? Do you know?
Oh no, because Carrie, I'm really bougie and I take them out of a carton and I put them in like an organizational thing, so I never know.
Okay. Well, part of the reason I ask is because that date, you know, it's not really an expiration date, it's a sell-by date.
Yes.
And a lot of people toss their eggs by that date, but it's really a sell-by date, so they're still good for a couple of weeks. I was doing a little digging around this morning to just find out, well, how can you tell exactly?
Oh, yeah.
And there's a float test, if you didn't know this, but you place the egg in a bowl of cold water. If it sinks to the bottom and lays on its side, it's very fresh. If it floats, it may be too old. So that's when it's time to get rid of it.
Wait, this is actually very helpful, especially if you're like me and you throw out the carton and you don't even know when the sell-by date was and you're worried it's going to make you sick. Now I'm going to do the float test. Look
There
at
you
us.
go. Yeah.
Carrie, we learn something new every day. Welcome to Question of the Day. I think you crushed it for your very first time.
I appreciate that.
Lots of good, true
Thank
or
you.
false. All right, that's always fun to learn whether it's a national or a world holiday, the latest information there. A little bit of a pivot for us here. I know I was talking before about this live shot coming out of Tennessee. It does appear right now that officials are talking. This feed is a little blurry. I'm going to work on getting us a better one, but I want us to go ahead and listen in at the latest information coming out from that blast at a Tennessee explosive plant that has left multiple people dead.
These families, you know, and I've said it up front, I said it to start with, that's where our thoughts and prayers need to go right now. And we've just got to take one day at a time or 1 hour at a time. We're processing things. We're finding out more information. We're trying to figure out, you know, maybe the cause of this. There's not going to be a short explanation for that. I know I'm may have repeated myself there a little bit, and forgive me, but we're all tired and trying to put together the best effort we can and remember the families and who we're working for. I do want to touch on Accurate Energetic. They are here with us. The facility's here with us. They have discontinued folks on the scene. I'm just sitting here trying to think through the scene. You know, we got the critical incident people here for the families as well as some of the first responders. For those of you that don't know, it was about 7:45 a.m. this morning that this explosion happened. We had a really amazing response from the first responders, fire, and here again I commend those first responders because it was multiple jurisdictions. They worked together. They got the situation under control very quickly and safely. And when you see or you pull up to the things that they were seeing and doing and having to do at the time, they done very, very well. And anybody any questions?
Sir, you mentioned the word souls earlier. Can you tell us how many people have lost their lives?
I can tell you that we've had, there are fatalities. Do I want to put a number to that? Because I always, and those of you that have known me in the past, I always wish for the best. Is there a possibility that somebody might be injured somewhere or somebody that we don't know about? Yes. I can tell you right now that we're looking for 19 individuals. And a lot of times when I have these types of situations, I refer to them more than just a person. They're a soul to me. So we're trying to, I can tell you that we're missing 19 souls right now.
Sheriff, I was wondering how many people were working at the time and how many people were taken to the hospital.
I don't think, there was, I think 4 to 5 individuals that was taken, maybe even by POV. I can't talk about the ambulance part of that. And forgive me for some of those early questions and not being able to answer them. We've concentrated so hard on getting the scene secured, getting things moving, taking care of basically the security, getting the personnel that we need here, that I can't answer some of those early questions. So forgive me for that. I don't want to give the appearance that I'm avoiding that.
Have you had a chance to see the building, and can you describe it?
Can I describe the building? There's nothing to describe. It's gone. It's again, it's the most devastating scene that I've seen in my career.
Sheriff, do you know what kind of work they did in that building specifically?
I do not, ma'am. I do not. I'm not familiar with the day-to-day operations of that.
I see a lot of family members that are waiting. Are they waiting for confirmation about if their family member is missing, or what communication are you having with them right now? We have communicated with the family. We've done it twice. We wanted to get some solid information because we were sliding a little bit in information that we were receiving and from past experience from the flood and those kind of things, that we wanted to make sure that we had the information, the correct information that we needed to talk with. So yes, we have spoke with families. Again, Accurate Energetics is taking care of those families and trying to do everything that we can to comfort them and get them the information as quick as we have it. I know it's early in the investigation, but does it appear it's accidental or intentional?
Can't answer that. And it's something that's a good question. And the reason I say that's a good question, in law enforcement, we have one opportunity. And that's the reason why you see a lot of things that we have to do in law enforcement. We have to make the worst assumption. We have to make that and prove it away that it is an accident. So we only have one chance at the evidence. We only have one thing or one chance to be able to do the things that we need to do. And we're going to be slow, methodical, and diligent and do everything that we can to make sure this is what it is. And there again, we're working for those families and those people that were in that building to make sure we get, if they deserve justice, we want to be in a situation that we get them justice. And that's how we have to approach these situations.
Okay, and there was another report that there was a destructive explosion in 2014 in the same building that was operated by Rio Heavy Emission. Can you confirm that and tell me if there's some kind of trend going on?
Rio was on the facility. That did happen here. I was here during that time. I don't believe that it was at that current facility at all. Yes, ma'am, you had a question.
That was my question, is do you have any information about a previous explosion at this facility?
Well, see, you have to remember, this is a huge compound, and there's a couple of different businesses that may operate within this facility. So I don't want to get in too much to the operation of the facility because they are a very delicate operation, and we have to maintain that.
Sheriff, I had heard some comments earlier about fallout outside.
If you are just joining us, we are hearing the latest coming out of Tennessee. This is the sheriff there speaking after an explosion at an explosive plant has left 19 people unaccounted for. I am going to leave this up and we're going to continue getting some new information out of Tennessee. But I'm going to head out this Friday afternoon, and then Sam is going to take over for the next hour. But again, this is the latest coming out of Tennessee, where there was an explosion at a business earlier this morning.
Was at 7:45, was the plant up and running, or were people just arriving for work? Do you have any idea?
I believe the plant was up and running. Last question.
Have you been able to speak to any families directly, and if so, what are you telling those families?
We have spoke to the families directly, and we told them that we're going to be very transparent with them and get them the information and try to answer every question that they have the best we can. It's again, it's going to be a very slow process. Sheriff Kraft, you going to anything?
I agree.
May I ask you a favor? Would you repeat that louder, please?
A lot of different departments have showed up here. Did you guys contact them, or did they contact you?
We contacted them. I think Sheriff Kraft and I both got information about this very quickly. I don't mind telling you from the prior experiences here with the Rio and the questions that y'all had, I immediately picked up the phone and called Commissioner Long, and I said, this is what I've got, this is where I'm going, because we are in a bad cell range, we are in a bad location, and Commissioner and I are personal friends, and he helped me get the agencies here that we needed, and rapidly. So that was one of the things that I'm very thankful to him for that, and that relationship as well. All right, last question. I think I might have said that. Anybody?
Well, Sheriff, I'm curious. I mean, after Waverly, I mean, another tragedy. I mean, just you talked about the beginning, but just how are you feeling? I mean, how's the community doing after another tragedy like this?
My friend, I can't answer that, and forgive me for saying that. I can't answer that right now because he and I and the people from this facility, Mr. Stinson, we've concentrated so much on what is here right now and getting this stable, secure, and taking care of the people here that I hadn't been able to have any kind of feedback from the community. So I'm sure that I'll start hearing some things. We'll start interacting with things as time goes through this. And again, this is not going to be, we're going to close this up tonight. It will probably be here 3 or 4 days from now, 5 days from now. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we're here next week. But we're just, again, we got to go slow, methodical. So forgive me, I don't mean to avoid that question, but we just can't, I can't answer it right now because I don't know.
I do have one more question. I know you were kind of being really sympathetic towards the souls that were lost. I am wondering if eventually you are going to let us know how many people have perished.
Yes, ma'am. We will confirm that. And like I can say right now, the list that we have right now, we are missing 19 souls. Okay?
We're not confirming that some of them are just missing. You can't confirm which ones have actually been accounted for.
I could not tell you who's been accounted for.
What are the next steps for you?
Good question. Right now, honestly, we're having to go hour by hour. We're having to take things hour by hour. We're having to take developments that's going on. We're operating this as, for lack of better words, and I don't want to say two different scenes, but we're letting them take care and doing the things that they need up there where the incident occurred. And we're taking that information, compiling what the needs are, and setting goals that we're trying to reach as we go. So to answer that, we're on that hour by hour situation.
When do you think we'll have more numbers about the number of people being treated?
Ms. Gray, if you don't mind, what time was we going to come back together? 4 p.m. I'm hoping by 4 p.m. that we can be able to tell you more information about that. So it's there again, it's not that I'm avoiding it, it's that we're getting information as we go, and that's why I want to try to maybe do these every hour or every couple of hours to be able to answer your questions. Okay? Again,
Sorry, is there some kind of list of missing people that we could potentially access? There was this one woman that told me her son was on that missing people list. I don't know if the media is privy to.
I don't have that available for the media at this time, and we're still working with that. There again, because there's some of the delicate information, we're trying to confirm that every family's been notified, and we've got 110% have got to make sure that that's happened. The Sheriff Kraft and I have even said if there's somebody that we can't get a hold of, we're going to send officers and along with accurate, energetic staff to make sure that we go out and find that. So, excuse me, we're trying everything we can do to take care of the people. Fair enough?
Hey, Chris, in years past, you've asked media to help in different aspects. Is there anything we can do to assist at this time?
Burton, I really appreciate you commenting on that. And putting things out here. We had some early pictures that was released. And, man, I'm just asking you to be mindful of these families. This is a huge ordeal. It's a very devastating ordeal. And I'm not talking about devastating on the scene. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about devastating in the fact of a loved one that just come to work and now may be missing or deceased. So please keep that in mind when you're having or doing these stories. These stories, we often find ways that we try to turn things into negative. This is a bad situation. This is a negative situation. But there's no reason for us to take the downward spiral or the downward side of this story when it comes to these families. So I'm all about that, and I'll always be about that. I think Sheriff and I both will always be about that. So thank y'all. I appreciate it.
on anything. Thank you.
Okay, hi everybody, Sam Kramer here. Checking in for the third hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk here. It's 2:33 on Friday, October 10th. We have just been listening to a news conference following what the sheriff there in Humphreys County, Tennessee is calling a devastating situation. That is an explosion at a munitions plant in Tennessee. The business is called Accurate Energetic Systems. It makes and tests explosives, according to the Associated Press, at a facility that includes 8 buildings across a wide wooded area, and this is about 60 miles southwest of Nashville. And he is very careful in choosing his words there, the sheriff, Chris Davis, saying that as of right now, 19 souls, as in 19 people, are unaccounted for. He says they do have fatalities, but he isn't even releasing a number on that because there's a lot of processes that need to be followed here. Alerting the families, identifying the victims, understanding just how many victims you have, how many were taken to the hospital, and the status of a lot of moving parts. Clearly a sensitive situation there that certainly the nation is watching. Again, just an explosion that happened today at that munitions plant. Multiple people dead, multiple people missing. We don't have exact numbers on any of those, but when we do get them, we will bring them to you. We're going to take a quick break right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. When we come back, we'll reset things, kind of take a look at some of the stories that we are following today, both locally, nationally, and internationally, right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hi everybody, Sam Kramer here with you on hour 3 of the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Friday, October 10th. So glad that you are watching with us on Fox Local. So glad you have downloaded the app, you found this content, and engaging with us today as we take a look at what's happening across our viewing area, across the state and the nation as well. The big story locally, unrelated to sports, is the situation, the unfortunate situation that happened yesterday in Milwaukee when an off-duty officer was involved in what police have described as a minor accident, and there are varying accounts about what happened next. According to Milwaukee police, the man that was driving, whose name we now know is Elijah Wilkes, was, according to police, they say he hit that off-duty officer with a pistol, and that is why the off-duty officer responded with force, shooting and killing him. And the big debate yesterday is there is video of this. We don't exactly know how just yet, whether this officer's vehicle was equipped with cameras, whether they were wearing a body camera, that sort of thing. But there is a standard operating procedure that has actually been hashed out over the last couple of years with pushes by the Milwaukee Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression. It's an activist group that has loudly banged the drum, both at protests, at meetings of the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission, and just toward Milwaukee police in general, about being more transparent anytime an officer uses force. So the standard operating procedure is known as 575. That's just the number that it's labeled as in this policy manual, if you will, for Milwaukee police. And it says that the police department, anytime an officer uses force, and it's labeled as what police would label a critical incident, that police have 15 days from the date of that incident to then release that video. It doesn't mean it has to happen absolutely at 15 days. It just says it has to be released within 15 days. Part of the reason for that is so that the direct stakeholders in that incident have time to see it, digest it, understand it. That same policy requires that family members of the victim or of the person that died in this case should see that within 48 hours. We do know today that the family of Mr. Wilkes has retained an attorney. His name is B. Ivory Lamar. And if you follow news in Milwaukee, you know his name. He's a national attorney. I believe he's based out of Atlanta, and he's flying in today. And he has covered, he has been retained by a number of families of people that have died at the hands of police officers, in which case, a lot of times they may be setting up for wrongful death lawsuits, civil lawsuits, or if this goes into the criminal realm, certainly a spokesperson and, again, a representation for the family to ensure that their interests are taken care of and heard of. We know that he is on his way here, and tonight they're going to be holding a press conference and a balloon release at 4:30 at 51st and Mill. Again, we just have these varying accounts. The family of Mr. Wilkes says that he did not threaten this officer or hit that officer, and so somewhere the truth is there in the middle. Just the question is what? And you believe it's on that video, but no one in the public, no member of the media has seen it just yet. And Jason Calvi, rightfully so, pushing Milwaukee police yesterday. If this is your account, and the family of Elijah Wilkes says this, why not just release it? Why not just kind of settle this debate? But again, it comes back to their policy. And so that is why it's going to be taking some time to, again, first see that. Again, the next of kin, that's the official word in the policy, they see this within 48 hours. And so we would expect either today or tomorrow, I believe the family, according to our political reporter Jason Calvi, is going to see that video today. So we may hear more of their reactions at that press conference at 4:30. I know our Stephanie Quirk is following this story nightside for us. Certainly won't be on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but nevertheless will be something that we are following today, a story that is going to be a story for the next several weeks. Another story that we are following, of course, is the Milwaukee Brewers. If you can hear my voice, a little raspy. We were down in Chicago yesterday as the Brewers had another opportunity to clinch this series. It was their worst game of the series. They fell to the Chicago Cubs 6-0, which requires an All the Marbles Game 5 that will happen this Saturday at American Family Field. And it's going to be on TBS again Saturday at 7:08. There you see it. The series, best of 5, is tied at 2 apiece. The home team has won every single game this series. And so if that trend holds, boy, things are looking good for the Brewers. The question is, can they respond the way we hope they respond, right? After what has been just a tough go here. They go to Chicago. They have all this momentum. They narrowly lose 4-3 in Game 3. Then they just kind of get stomped in Game 4. And so we're going to see what happens. The best team in baseball, best record, the most wins in franchise history. Is it all for naught, or does this season of destiny just kind of keep going? The other thing that is happening this weekend, of course, can't forget about the Packers, right? And boy, they are there's a live look there at Lambeau Field. They had a bye week after that unusual tie with the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Micah Parsons return to Dallas to play the Cowboys. He, I believe, officially was credited with a sack, though there's debate on whether that was a sack. But the Packers are going to be facing a familiar face, Joe Flacco, the guy who just beat them when he was quarterbacking the Cleveland Browns, 3 weeks ago now, was traded from the Browns to the Cincinnati Bengals. Their star quarterback, Joe Burrow, has been out with a toe injury. He's likely going to miss the rest of the year. So Joe Flacco gets to play the Green Bay Packers again, this time in Lambeau. And with teammates he will have just met a couple of days prior to that game on Sunday, which I believe is set for a 3:25 kickoff right there at Lambeau Field. It should be a good one. But it feels weird to say that, like, the Packers just kind of taking a back seat, but nevertheless, coming off a bye week, they should be well rested, they should be healthy, and I think a lot of fans are hoping that they are going to respond with a vengeance based on that last tie that happened, again, 2 weeks ago off of the bye. So let's see, what else we got going on here? We are following a number of stories. Let's take a look here at the Dow Jones. This is a live look at what's been a down day for the Dow. If you are somebody that has an interest in the stock market, certainly your 401k, it's been a rough day, really rough day. The Dow down, almost 700 points to 45, almost 46,000 there. So certainly keeping an eye on that. Not necessarily the news you want to see heading into the weekend, but nevertheless, that is a situation there. Let's see. Carrie Doctor is on the producer for us. And Carrie, let's talk about the Brewers. I know
Absolutely.
you're a big Brewers fan.
Sure.
What were your takeaways from yesterday in a game that I think a lot of people just want to forget, flush, and hope that the Brewers can come back from?
Yeah, it was painful. I was mentioning to Haley earlier that the home field advantage is clearly a big factor in this whole series, and we just need Brewers fans to bring it tomorrow and show them who's best. Brewers the best league in Major League Baseball. Let's show them we're the best fans of Major League Baseball.
You know, what's interesting is these post-game press conferences with both of the managers, Pat Murphy said the same thing, I believe game 1 and game 2, that the crowd really made a difference. And then last night, Craig Counsell, our old friend, said the same thing. Like, the crowd truly makes a difference, and he felt that they certainly helped fuel the Cubs to win the way that they did. Ian Happ hits a 3-run home run in the first inning, and all of a sudden the route is on. And so it really does set up this really interesting situation come Saturday. And there's always this debate locally. Okay, if you got tickets, do you sell them? Because you can certainly turn a profit. But if you're going to sell them, it matters who you sell it to. I think most of us would say, well, if you got tickets, just go.
Yeah, I agree. I think being in person, there's nothing like it. Clearly watching at home in front of your TV with your feet up and your beer or your chips next to you, that's a great way to watch a ball game. But there is nothing that beats, especially if you're talking a Game 5 or a Game 7, being there, soaking up the excitement, just breathing off of what everybody else is playing off of here.
It's going to be fully juiced up. It's a 7 o'clock, 7:08 first pitch. It's the only game that day, so they're going up against college football. And Cubs fans are going to do their best to get up here early and see just how many tickets they can get to make it feel, as they say, as Wrigley North. But again, something to be said about a loud, boisterous home crowd that can just take the torch. And anytime the pitcher's in a rough spot, they just get loud, they show them that they're behind them, and all of a sudden they can work their way out of a mess. My question would be for you, because I know you're a big baseball fan, who would you start if you're Pat Murphy? And, for the first time all series, you want to try and prevent the Cubs from scoring any runs in the first inning.
Producer dream, I'd love to see Woody walk out onto the mound. I think the fans would lose their minds to see that. I don't know that he's ready just yet. But I have a feeling it's going to be another, pitch by committee type of game. And just, an inning or two, whatever we can get out of it, and just throw as hard as you can and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't they left Brandon Woodruff off the roster because I don't think isn't it his delt?
Yeah.
Yeah, so not the shoulder that had been the issue, but his delt. So, yeah, barring an absolute miracle, it's not going to be him. I wonder if you go with like an opener, the way that they have with Aaron Ashby or somebody else, but probably a lefty to keep the Cubs' strong left-handed hitters off the way. I was talking with one of our newscast producers, Howard, about this yesterday, and he's feeling Jose Quintana. He's a veteran. He's also a lefty. He's been through this before. But I could also see the argument for Jacob Mizrowski and just put the flamethrower out there and see what happens. The only thing is he's a little bit wild.
Yeah, I think if the Miz came out there, fans would definitely get behind him, but he would probably have a short leash if he wasn't feeling it and hitting that zone right off the bat. If he's doing well, you know what he did the first couple of games that he played. Like, he was unbeatable, and it's part of the reason he went to the All-Star game.
Yeah. I would love to see that return to form, but I think he threw 50 or 60 pitches on Monday, so he certainly should be fresh. It's unfortunate that Freddie the Ace couldn't take care of it, but nevertheless, something that I think a lot of people are going to be following. Carrie, thanks. If you are going to be heading to that game, let's take a look at the forecast this weekend. So today, it's a little breezy, a little windy out there. It's a little bit chilly, but still high 67. Actually, walking into work, awesome. Saturday, 64. And as I drove into work down 94, I noticed that the roof was closed at American Family Field. I believe that decision was made hours earlier with a little bit of rain in the forecast. But I bring that up to say this. Come Saturday, 7 o'clock, it's going to be a little brisk. I wonder if they keep the roof closed because what does that do? A, it keeps it a little bit warmer in there. If you're a Brewers fan, if you've ever been when the roof is closed in the middle of summer, you know this. But B, it makes it louder. It makes it a lot louder. The sound will echo off the roof. It stays entirely enclosed. And so that could be something to watch. And let's just go ahead and say it right now because I know our friends down south think that this isn't the case, but Major League Baseball controls the roof. Not the Brewers, not somebody looking for a competitive advantage, certainly not Craig Counsell, and he would know this better than most. The Major League Baseball decides if that roof is open or not. And so, again, that is the big one that we are looking for coming up tomorrow. Man.
Sam, if I could chime in real quick.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take – wrong one. Where did it go? Oh, they took away the baseball forecast for us. I will tell you that the baseball forecast for tomorrow showed a northeast wind. And are you able to bring up the pic of AmFam Field?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I have it.
Because you'll notice in that that the roof is closed, but the panels are open. The outfield faces right towards the northeast. So it is clearly, if the wind's blowing off the lake, they're going to have the panels closed, the roof closed. And I think it's mostly for comfort.
Yeah.
But I think it will also be extremely loud, absolutely.
There we go. So, yeah, roof closed. And that's a good part about the panels because you can create a little bit of a jet stream that leads its way out to the outfield. That certainly benefits both teams, probably more the Cubs than the Brewers just based on the, sheer number of home runs that they've already hit in this series, Game 2 withstanding. So, who knows? But again, roof is closed today. Does it stay closed tomorrow? We'll see. And we were looking at some of those graphics. Let's see, we got graphic 2 here. There's rain coming in. This is looking at Sunday. You know what? I believe Holly she's our meteorologist today, and she's probably working on her forecast. So let's go back to American Family Field. I know I always love to look at the traffic there because, Friday, okay, right about 10 minutes shy of 3 o'clock. A little bit of the rush hour for folks that have the luxury of getting out the door with the sales shift that we'll call it on Friday and getting ready for a good weekend. But boy, is that going to be packed about this time tomorrow when those tailgating lots will open generally around 3 to 4 hours before game time. I don't know that we have the details on that just yet. The gates generally open 2.5 hours beforehand. That would be, about 4:35-ish. So, yeah, it is going to be it's going to be a pins and needles game, I think, for a lot of people because it's just been such a magical year. I think a lot of folks maybe feeling, a bit of trepidatious about the Cubs in this matchup, just because it is so emotionally charged. It is a rivalry, and it's been tough. It has been tough to get by the Cubs, and I believe the season series, the Cubs now have it 9-8, including the playoff games. So, man, if the Brewers could just find a way to take care of business tomorrow, I think a lot of people would breathe a big sigh of relief. And then, oh yeah, if you do win, the NLCS starts Monday, and guess who's waiting for you? One of the biggest payrolls in baseball in the Los Angeles Dodgers after they beat the Philadelphia Phillies. Kind of a dramatic extra innings win last night in LA. So that is something that we are certainly paying attention to, and with a lot of anticipation. I feel like I wish this game was already here, but it's not the way it works. And, last night in his post-game press conference, Pat Murphy, who we have known to be quite colorful in the segments I like to speak to the manager that Ted did, just such a interesting behind-the-scenes look at this guy who was tasked with leading a team and everything that goes into it, the dynamics, the egos, the decisions, the chess matches, that sort of thing. But last night, after the game, after the Brewers lost 6-0 in his post-game press conference, he said, you know what, we really are looking forward to this day off. It's a mental reset. He's got one of the youngest teams in baseball, certainly appears to be the youngest team in the postseason, and just the moment in Chicago was just a little bit too big. With the crowd on you, with every pitch, it makes it hard to focus. It makes it hard to do what you've done 162 times throughout the regular season. But nevertheless, that game is behind them. And you wonder what his message is to them today. And certainly tomorrow, before they get in and get warmed up and get dialed in and hopefully win this game, about realizing that they've done it all year long. Nobody won more games. And they've responded. They really don't have a ton of long losing streaks this year. And so whether they can bounce back, certainly we're all hoping for that. But it's going to be something to watch. I like to call it sports the best reality TV there is, and I think it's going to be definitely something to see tomorrow. All right, we are going to take a quick break on the Wisconsin Live Desk. When we come back, we'll see what else is happening in our state, in the nation, and in the world. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hi everybody, Sam Kramer back with you on the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Friday, October 10th, 10:10 if you're into numerology, and it's just coming up on 3 o'clock here in hour 3 of the Wisconsin Live Desk. I want to show you some of the things that we are following. I'm going to start first with another look at the Dow Jones, down almost 900 points today. Wall Street just tumbling on this Friday, and according to the Associated Press, those stocks are falling after the president, Donald Trump, threatened to crank tariffs much higher on China. This is the worst day for the S&P 500. It sank 2.1%. It's worst day since April. The Dow down 1.4, almost 2% actually, 1.88 right this second. And the NASDAQ composite 2.8% lower. Just a tough day. The president took to Truth Social and said he is considering a massive increase on tariffs specifically focused on China because he is upset at the restrictions China placed on the exports of its rare earth minerals. Those materials are used for manufacturing, for any number of things, electronics, jet engines, etc., etc. So the president wrote on Truth Social, quote, "We have been contacted by other countries who are extremely angry at this great trade hostility which came out of nowhere." Went on to say, now there seems to be no reason to meet with the leader of China, Xi Jinping, after he had already agreed to do so as part of an upcoming trip to South Korea. So that's one thing, certainly nationally. The other thing would be this. Let's take a look at Capitol Hill, a government shutdown. And it is, gosh, I can't even remember what day of the government shutdown it is, but there really doesn't appear to be any sort of movement from either side. They're both pointing the fingers at the others. But what we're watching right now is the fact that the Budget Office is warning that substantial firings of federal workers have begun. And this is an attempt, certainly, to exert more pressure on Democrats in the Senate to try to come to the table, to try and stop the opposition, so to speak, and get the government back up and funded. But it's interesting, considering, one of the president's first agenda points coming into office with the creation of the DOGE office, the Department of Government Efficiency, that at one time Elon Musk ran before his limited contract ran out. He was focused on shrinking the government. And so, you can certainly wonder, if you're politically inclined, was this part of a Republican plan to, if this does get to a shutdown, to just kind of continue acting upon that agenda item, and shrinking the size of the government helps pay for things like the big beautiful bill, and just kind of pursuing this shrinking down of the federal government to things that Republicans and the president himself have called as wasteful, to then, again, just kind of effectuate your campaign promises, your platform, and go from there. Certainly that case is going to play out in the federal courts. As I'm reading here, labor unions are asking judges, including a federal judge in California, for an immediate injunction, that would be, temporary injunction, to block the government from these mass firings. So that is certainly something that we will be watching there as well. Again, we talked a little bit about the Brewers just a short time ago, and they, again, have a massive game coming up on Saturday. It's Game 5 of the NLDS. They win. They clinch their spot in the NLCS with the Los Angeles Dodgers waiting for them. And if you're like me, who I've been a Brewers fan my whole life, growing up in Franklin and returning back to work in this market, I kind of feel like it had to be this way. You had to go through the Cubs, and if you can beat the Cubs, you had to go through the Dodgers to avenge, what was it, 2017, 2018, one of those years, when the Dodgers took care of the Brewers in the NLCS and went on to the World Series. So if you're going to summit the mountain, might as well go through and take the hard track. So a couple of, let's reassess the season that was. Chicago took the regular season series over the Brewers 7-6 just by one game, and part of that was that really unusual 5-game series in the middle of the season in August because of a rain delay at Wrigley Field. So they had one of those games as a doubleheader. And Milwaukee is seeking its first postseason series win since 2018. And a really upsetting stat I think I would share is that last night's loss for the Brewers was their 5th straight loss in a series clinching game. So they had 2 opportunities in this series. They had, I believe, just one last year after they lost game 1 at home to the Mets. But nevertheless, they just can't close these games out. And talking to Brewers fans has been so interesting to hear how they're grappling with the fact of history. This team's done so well with such a comparably small payroll compared to the rest of Major League Baseball and certainly the rest of the teams that have made it onto the postseason. They've done so well in just getting there. The problem is, though, they can't get over the hump to then keep moving forward. And talked to some Brewers fans that were outside Wrigley Field yesterday, had it on their heart to come down, hopefully see the Brewers clinch again. That did not happen. The Cubs won 6-0. But some of them mentioned, you know what? Yeah, you do kind of have to guard your heart a little bit because we've been through this before. The Brewers have been through this before. They've gotten so close. They look dominating. And then all of a sudden, a couple of things just don't go their way and it all unravels. And rather abruptly at that. We remember last year, right, when the Brewers were 3 outs away from beating the New York Mets. Pete Alonso hits a go-ahead home run, and you could hear it in the stadium. It just lost its juice. You could hear it. And the voice of late Bob Uecker, who said, look, that one had some sting on it. And I remember that we were even outside the ballpark. I was talking to shuttle drivers who felt quite confident that they were going to have a few more days of work, looking forward to it. And within 10 minutes, the season is over, and it just ends just like that. So, again, that is certainly a big story that we are following. But another big story at American Family Field that might take a backseat page just for the time being, at least through the weekend, is this. That Banana Ball, the Savannah Bananas, are coming to Milwaukee. They've got 183 games across 45 states in 8 months. And that includes a stop in American Family Field. It's going to be a big deal. Now, if you don't know about the Savannah Bananas, it is an experience. It's a way to get the younger generation of people, of sports fans, just kids, whether they're into sports or not, into baseball because they play it unlike you've ever seen it before. So, the Party Animals, actually, it's one of the teams involved that play the Savannah Bananas. They're going to play a 2-game series at American Family Field. This will be June 6th and June 7th of next year, 2026. And tickets, there's a lottery that is open right now. You can join the list until October 31st, but they will not officially go on sale until spring of 2026. I would expect this to sell out. What makes this Banana Ball so interesting is that it's not played traditionally. They have certain rules for certain innings. The game is played on a clock, not on a 9-inning or extra inning type of schedule. And the fans are involved. At times, if a fan catches a foul ball, it's included as an out. So it is unlike, you can go to it expecting one kind of baseball experience, but boy, it is nothing like that. I've never been, but I know people that have gone, and it is just a spectacle. A quote from the press release that they sent out announcing this is that's an unforgettable mix of outrageous fun, athleticism, showmanship that fans of all ages will love. And I think that's an accurate depiction. Look, we've seen them do dancing TikToks in the middle of games. I've seen players taking at bats on stilts. The umpire gets involved in dances, and there's just so many wrinkles and curveballs into the equation that, it's just something to see. And I think, again, it would surprise me if it isn't sold out when the Party Animals, again, part of the Banana Ball Club League, will make that trip to American Family Field next year. Again, June 6th and June 7th. So the Brewers must be out of town during that weekend. So, interesting to see that. And yeah, there we go. So this is Banana Ball. Where are you most excited to see Banana Ball in 2026? That's a huge tour. And so what they have done, and that gentleman you see right there is the owner. I don't have his name off the top of my head. But he purchased the team and realized that it was a minor league team at the time, that they were just struggling. They weren't doing as well as they would have preferred. And he said, you know what if we just drop the affiliation with the minor league that we're in and just go about it a different way. And I don't think he ever imagined it would go as well as it has. They've got so many people, so many former or college baseball players, even former pro players that work their way up in the minors and that sort of things. You're seeing on this video that they put out, they've got some big venues. We're talking football stadiums like that one there in College Station. That's the home of Texas A&M. Big ballparks. They played at Clemson University as well, and Scranton, PA, Knoxville, again, that's the University of Tennessee. Coming up on the Milwaukee trip here, let's see. Oh, is that really when the video is going to stop? There it is. Yeah, 6th and 7th. So it's not the Bananas themselves, but it is the team that they have played the most, the Party Animals. And so it's going to be entertaining, cool to see. And part of that speaks to, I guess, just the Brewers' attempt to get events into American Family Field. We've kind of covered it in detail, that they're trying to, with the extension of the lease and the state law that was passed to provide them more funding, they're not only trying to ramp up American Family Field. In fact, part of the lease requires that the state-owned ballpark district keeps American Family Field in the subjective top 25% of all ballparks. But they're trying to bring in more events. That's part of the reason why they're going to winterize this ballpark over the next 2 off seasons. Again, we hope that work doesn't start for several weeks, if the Brewers would be able to continue playing. But they want to hold more events there throughout the year. Part of the reason, you just bring in more revenue, and that revenue allows you to do more things. Certainly concerts. This is an opportunity. They've done basketball there before, kind of one-off exhibition games. You imagine they would be open to that too. But the one thing, Rick Schlesinger, he's the president of business operations for the Brewers, told me and told us is that he really wants to get a football game in American Family Field, which, if you're an old-timer, let me take that back. If you are a classic fan of the Green Bay Packers, you're like, yeah, the Brewers have already hosted games at County Stadium. But nowadays, the NFL has a lot of restrictions. Schlesinger said that the field surface would not be big enough for the Brewers to host the NFL. However, it would be big enough to do college. He's a Badgers grad. He would love to see the Badgers come play a game in Milwaukee. It'd certainly be interesting. And again, just something that is a possibility now that the team's future is secure in Milwaukee for the next, 25 years. So, yeah, that's something that we are excited to see, Banana Ball coming to American Family Field. All right, so again, you are watching the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is 3:12. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, another look at what's happening in our area, across the state, across the nation, right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hi everybody, Sam Kramer back with you on this Friday, October 10th for hour 3 of the Wisconsin Live Desk. Got just about 15 minutes left here as we round out the work week, at least the traditional work week, unlike those of us that work the weekends here. TV, it's a wild, wonderful world. But hey, looking like we have a great weekend on tap, not just weather-wise, but there's a whole slew of events happening this weekend, including one that we have a special connection to. It's the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk. It's tomorrow. And this is such a huge event. If you've been a Fox 6 viewer, certainly you know about Buddy Check 6. It's one of our, I'd call pillars here at Fox 6, is just advocating for the right things. And so again, this walk helps to raise money and certainly for breast cancer survivors and research, and it's all good things. So it's happening at Meyer Festival Park. That is the Summerfest grounds, the South Gate there. Gates open at 8 o'clock. The opening ceremonies will be at 9:40 a.m. Our Mary Stoker Smith there, pictured in the middle with Derica and Ted Perry, Stephanie Barrichello, and Nicola Jenowitz. She loves this event. It is so near and dear to her heart. She acts as the MC. The walk begins at 10 a.m. and then they have tons of fun at the finish line between 10:30 and noon. Buddy Check 6, certainly if you know about it, every 6th of the month we run this in our newscasts, is to just sign up and get a buddy. And men, you see Donovan Long there, and again, Ted Perry there too. Men can get breast cancer. That's why we have updated this to include these Fox 6 anchors to be your buddy. That early detection is so important. And so what do you get when you get a buddy? You get a reminder to check, do your self-exam. Certainly if anything pops up, then you would want to go and seek a professional opinion. And they send out monthly reminders, and then just being on top of changes in your body, certainly. The earlier, again, can't say it enough, the earlier you figure things out, sense a problem, the better it is for you on the back end. I think so many of us know somebody in our own lives that has been affected by breast cancer. And so that's why, again, near and dear to our hearts, all of us here at Fox 6. It's so easy to just check things out yourself. And so again, that Making Strides Walk is this Saturday at 10 a.m. down at the Henry Meyer Festival Park. Something else we've been doing in newscasts is asking for your Brewers photos. So many of you have been flooding this QR code with your memories at the ballpark, at tailgates, with dogs. So there you see the QR code there. If you haven't sent any of your stuff in, feel free. Not a guarantee that it'll make it on the air, but boy, it's been really fun to see some of these. So let's run through them, Carrie. Let's see who we got here.
Oops, sorry. Let me chime in here. I'd love to share some of them, but system's not showing any at the moment. I will say, though, when we first launched this, we expected we'd get quite a few photos, but the number of photos that we're getting in daily is almost mind-blowing. It's amazing. Everything from cats and dogs and birds, and obviously all the tailgating photos, they're amazing.
Kind of speaks to the year that has been, does it not? In that just there's been something magical about this year. Certainly the red-hot nuclear run they went on in between July and into August that got everybody George Webb's Burgers. There's a lot of local pride, and everybody kind of wants to see the local team do well. So,
no, absolutely.
If you haven't already, you saw the QR code, send us your photos. They might be featured here on the Wisconsin Live Desk or on any of our Fox 6 newscasts. I believe they've been airing in every single newscast. So I liken it to Salute to Seniors, another thing that we've done that has just received such strong engagement. That started during the pandemic when a lot of us were feeling for high school seniors that were missing out on that experience that all of us certainly got to feel, enjoy, celebrate, and it's kind of the same thing. Kind of a salute to Brewers fans who have been there with the team throughout it all, and what has just been a magical year. So again, if you're new to us, you got the QR code there. Just take your phone, your iPad, whatever smart device you have. You scan it, you send us your picture, tell us who you are, where you live, and just the occasion so that we can talk about you on the air. It's been great to just hear from so many people about all their unique stories. I think what's so cool about baseball is that there isn't just one way of doing things. You know, people tailgate, people go to bars, some people just scoot out from work a little bit early, and they make these connections with friends, with family, with people you're just sitting next to at the game that you just come to meet over the course of 3 hours or so, and then all of a sudden they become fans. And, you know, I think a good example of that was earlier this year when, again, we found the unfortunate news that Bob Uecker passed, that so many Brewers fans in droves just came to the statue outside home plate there at American Family Field and just kind of let it out. They came with their Miller Lite cans, with flowers, with baseballs, with bobbleheads, and mourned together what I called, I believe, on the air that night. I said it felt like Milwaukee lost collectively its grandpa, because I think a lot of Brewers fans related to Bob Uecker that way. Another thing that's made this postseason so interesting, it's the first one without him. So you're hoping that Uecker Magic, as one fan coined it earlier in the year, can lead the Brewers to break this sort of tough clinching spell, as we talked about, 5 straight losses in series clinching games for them in the postseason. Hoping to break that, have a little bit of a champagne celebration, and then wake up on Sunday and realize that you're going to be in the NLCS. So we're going to take another quick break right here. You're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back. It's the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm your host, Sam Kramer, for Hour 3 on this Friday, October 10th. And boy, does it really feel like fall again outside in southeast Wisconsin after we've had these unseasonably warm, even record-setting temperatures at times. But boy, nice start to the weekend on this Friday. As we near the end here of the Wisconsin Live Desk, I want to take you around and just kind of touch on all the stories that we're following at this hour. The first is that the government remains shut down, and right now the budget office is telling federal workers that, again, it is beginning layoffs, which was something that the president was interested in doing when he came and began his second term back in January with the creation of the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, that at one time Elon Musk was running. Again, the government is shut down, but now his budget office, through the direction of Russ Vought, is actually effectuating some of those changes. Labor unions that represent federal workers are already beginning to sue in federal court to try and block those layoffs. Again, many of these workers not being paid or just out of work while they wait to return to work. So that is something that we are certainly following as well. The stock market, if you have a 401k, maybe don't take a look at it as you head into the weekend. It's been a rough day for the Dow Jones, down almost 2%, almost 900 points. And the financial insiders are saying this is directly connected to the fact that the president is saying and warning of more tariffs coming against China after China placed its own restrictions on the exports of rare earth minerals. Those materials are used in so many things, from electronics to jet engines and everything in between. So again, markets look to be closed as those numbers aren't changing, and hopefully rebounding sometime next week. Get back closer to home. It's a live look at American Family Field. You see the Magic Brew banner hanging there beyond the center field walls. Boy, are we hoping that that brew and that magic can come together again inside American Family Field when the Brewers host the Cubs for a decisive Game 5 of this National League Division Series. That will be tomorrow, Saturday. First pitch, 7:08. So if you don't have any weekend plans, I'd suggest maybe getting inside American Family Field. Get those tickets so a Cubs fan can't get them, and just be loud. Be louder than you ever have before. Can't forget about the Green Bay Packers, right? Lambeau Field, you're looking live there. It's been quiet. The Packers had a bye week last week. That's why it's kind of been all attention on the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Packers welcome the Cincinnati Bengals to town, who will be led by Joe Flacco, the new quarterback, who just beat the Packers 3 weeks ago when he was quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Well, thanks so much for watching the Wisconsin Live Desk. We really appreciate you engaging with us. Have a great weekend. Of course, we're always on at fox6now.com.